shit, no! Who's fucking signed by me a fucking witness, motherfucker?
Hey, hey, system boot, post, jump, spine light up. Ay, voltage, whisper, turn the whole night up. Ay, no countdown, no calm, no gentle ignition. Ay, ay, straight from sleep into collision. You wake already on when the day your breath. Alarm clock tax on your nervous debt. Sugar for panic, caffeine for dread. Tessie smile over industrial stress. They say you rest like it's something to buy. Sell you distraction to cover the why. Sell you a future in easy installments. Interest hidden in late stage malice. First law, etched in electric bone. If you don't choose tension, it choose your tone. If you don't train pressure, it on your spine. If you don't aim fire, it floods your mind. They taught you to labor, forgot to charge. How to hold a lightning strike in the heart. How to move when the signal is still just myth. How to bite when the door is built to live. I pressure behind your eyes right now. Oh, hey. That's dormant power looking for help. Hey, hey, nervous system on. Hey, heart in overdrive. We don't beg for a sign. Hey, we become the sign. Hey, nervous system on. Hey, muscle full of will when the body says stand. Hey, we stand for real. Breath is the first engine, train at the stairs. Slower for aim than strike when it's clear. Handshake true when the mask feels fair. Spine never lies when the edge is near. You were trained to shout when the noise is fake and stay real quiet when thunder should break. They gave you comfort as a padded sail and called it safety when it rained like hell. Second law burning in the cream fire. Habits are God's if you don't deny them. What you want, that you will, come what you are. What you in avoid, tighten future bar. Posture confesses what words conceal. Every slouch is a contract you sign is real. Every excuse is a debt you stack with compound interest on the back of the bag. Feet on the dirt, hit the ground, talk back. It says pressure builds where you draw the track. Every limit you claim is a rented wall. Every ceiling balls when the rip stand tall. Nervous system on. Heart in overdrive. We don't beg for a sign. We become the sign. Nervous system on. Blood like clustered drums. We done set free. We choose to run. You don't need more vision, you need more nerve. More follow through in the curve, you swerve. More teeth in the vow, you softly serve. More heat in the dream, you politely curb. The sublime is in prison, the same. How fire survives without eating the frame. How pain becomes muscle instead of display. How tomorrow stops spilling you for today. Third law carved in calcium code. Growth is reps when the spirit groans. You don't rise from quotes or viral names. You rise from sweat in invisible frames. One more breath when the lungs say no. One more inch when the legs go slow. One more truth when the life feels safe. That's how the nervous system learns its shape. You are not tired. Nervous system on. We don't dim the drive. Every star in the flesh is a future alive. Nervous system on. No sedation song when the signal hits red. We accelerate on. Manual page 1 concludes. Train the wiring before you negotiate with fate. Nervous system on. Impulse is a spark, not a king on a throne. Just because it burns don't mean it's your home. Just because it screams don't mean it is truth. Every fire feels holy when it stops for you. You crown every urge like it owns the land. Every itch you feel becomes part of the plan. Every hunger gets promoted to law. Every twitch of the mind gets veto power. You don't pause, you don't wait to feel. You don't measure cost, you just follow the feel. Dopamine shouts, cortisol barks. Serotonin rests from the dark of the dark. They told you the heart never lies, but the heart can be drunk and the heart can be blind. The heart is a drum, but the brain is time. You need both, but the march is designed to survive. Rule 4, carved in the cartilage wall. Reaction is fast, but direction is all. You can run every light if you're wildly alive and still never once choose the road you arrive. That twitch in your jaw when you're ready to let it go. That itch in your thumb when the screen starts to glow. That spike in your chest when the insult lands. It's a test of the brakes, not a test of the hands. Impulse is not command. Feeling is not law. Want is not a throne and craving is not God. Impulse is not command. Time is on your side. The one who learns to wait is the one who learns to rise. They wire your reflex for speed and traps. Every click is a lever, every thought is a tap. Every ad is a nerve cut, surgical clean. Every feed is a lab for your dopamine. You think you're choosing, but the slot is prepaid. Every scroll is a funnel, they already laid. You call it desire, it's conditioned response. A chessboard, but the flesh and pulse. Rule 5, branded in frontal plate. Delay is the
one's trained. Most people don't fail from lack of intent. They fail from the gap between urge and event. You don't need more force, you need more delay. More room between spark and the move you play. The warrior's edge is not wild, attack is the grip. The holds when the string pulls back. Count to three when the venom is near. That pause is a weapon most never wield. Count to three when the wallet shakes. That pause is the wall between wealth and escape. Count to three when the mouth wants flame. That pause is the color on public shame. Count to three when the body wants night. That pause is the gate between ruin and right. Impulse is not command. Feeling is not law. One is not a throne and craving is not God. Impulse is not command. Silence is his skill. Every second you resist, you're sharpening will. Impulse is not command. Feeling is not law. One is not a throne and craving is not God. Impulse is not command. Silence is a skill. Every second you resist, you're sharpening will. You don't conquer the world with a twitch and a whim. You conquer the world with a grip from within. You don't break every wall by exploding outside. You study the brick till it teaches you where to strike. The blindness of the murder of fun is the aim that decides which pleasure gets done. Is the art of selecting which pain you invest. So tomorrow's strength is the pain for stress. Rule 6, etch intended and vain. Short pleasure, borrow, long-term change. Every binge is alone with a brutal rain. Every justice once is a widening gate. You don't rise from the rush of whatever you feel. You rise from the pattern that stays when it's real. You don't master the storm by loving the rain. You master the storm by holding the reins. If you always obey what you feel, you will eventually feel what you hate. Impulse is not command. We don't kneel to the flame. We don't crown every spark with the right to our name. Impulse is not command. We don't worship the itch. We don't hand over the wheel to the fastest switch. Manual page to conclude. Delay is not weakness. Delay is leverage.
Every second you stare is a corner of your stare. Every blink is a bid on the road you take back. They ain't stealing your money, they stealing your sight. They ain't breaking your bones, they breaking your night. You wake in a world where the loudest survives, where silence is taxed and distraction is prized. Every glow is a hook with a line in your nerve. Every ping is a guide asking what you deserve. They don't need your labor, they need your eyes. Need your micro attention to feed the disguise. You think you're relaxing, you're paying in hours to corporations that harvest your powers. Rule 7 stamped in retinal gold, where your focus goes, your future goes. What you stare at trains, what you become, what you repeat turns plastic to bone. They don't sell you chains like iron and steel. They sell you permission to never be still. They sell you an itch that never resolves, so you never sit long enough to evolve. If you can't hold focus, you can't hold course, and drift feels gentle till it becomes a force. Attention is currency, spend it with intent. Every second you burn is a life you've lent. Attention is currency, guard it like bread. What you feed with your eyes will be strong in your chest. They build on hand pies, on fractional glances, on thumb-driven prayers and ritual trances. You think you chose it chose you first, engineered to the blood and mapped to the thirst. You don't lose your mind in one loud fall, you lose it slow in 1,000 small calls. One more clip, one more baited rage, one more fake emergency on your stage. Rule 8 cut deep in optic nerve, urgency is running out, always observe. Most things screaming out, can't wait, most things whispering later or fade. You don't need to see more, you need to see longer. Let the weak signals grow instead of the stronger. What starts for patience, screams for control. What waits in silence builds the soul. Close the app, feel the hands, feel the room, feel the land. Your nervous system needs real sound, not 1,000 ghosts screaming through the ground. Attention is currency, spend it with intent. Every second you burn is a life you've lent. Attention is currency, not a minor skill. What you look at all day is shaping your will, yeah. You can't build a world on scattered thought. You can't mend a future on attention ball. You can't raise a body on borrowed gaze. You can't grow a spine in a constant haze. Focus is pressure that turns Mr. Still. It's how thought becomes something your hands can feel. It's how dreams stop vibrating in theory and start making dance in the atmosphere clearly. Rule 9 etched in cortical bone. Death beats with when the time is your own. Better one long stare than 1,000 looks. Better one live truth than a tower of books. You don't need more input, you need more
return. More sitting with heed to the lesson burns. More time with the thing that doesn't entertain, but quietly rearranges the brain.
If they control your eyes, they eventually control your choices. If they control your choices.
Attention is currency. We don't donate blind. Every moment we give is a structured design. Attention is currency. We don't leak the gold. We invest in the things that can outlive the scroll. Manual page 3 concludes. Guard your sight. Orient your life.
You can be strong and still disappear. You can be loud and still die unheard. You can be brilliant alone in a room and still starve in the shadow of soon. They taught you grind like the world is solo. One hero myth with a lonely logo. But every empire you ever admired was a web of hands in the same damn fire. You think survival is teeth and well, it's time and trust and who reaches the bill. It's who answers when the floor gives way. It's who shows up on your worst damn day. Rule 10 welded in social steel. No one ascends on outsourced wheel. You can't scale a peak on a single spine. You need a rope of synchronized minds. Lone wolves sound cool in the story arc, but real wolves hunt inside the dark. Alone is fast but it shatters quick. Together it's slow but it builds with sticks. Every bridge you burn is a future you tax. Every door you close as a supply line snap. Network or starve, that's the law of the land. No fortress stands on a single hand. Network or starve, no myth, no flex. Every real victory is a cluster of vets. You don't need more followers, you need more peers. More shared disgrace, more mutual fears. More nights where the plan almost breaks and somebody else keeps the vision awake. They say you independence like it's holy ground, so you never build anything that rebounds. They fear the commons, they fear the hive. They fear what happens when units align. Rule 11 burned the supply chain bone. Isolation is the easiest zone to own. If they keep you solo and proud of the cage, they never have to storm the stage. You don't overthrow systems with viral heat. You overthrow systems with organized feet, with skill exchange and shared logistics. Not lonely guys with glamour statistics. Who feeds you when the stream runs dry? Who covers your name when the rumor flies? Who tells you the truth when your pride goes blind? Who holds the line when you lose your line? Network or starve, that's the pressure of time. No solo dream, outruns a tribe. Network or starve, no throne, no spark. Every fight that lasts is a... This isn't about clicks and fake bond scenes. It's about shared risk and real machines. Shared losses, shared repair, shared sellers. Nobody clears alone up there. You don't need clones that mirror your face. You need counterparts that occupy space, that disagree sharp and still don't split. That test the steel with a bend in it. Rule 12 cut deep in comparative nerve. Trust is built through control, swerve through survive mistakes, not curated shine. Through shared deadlines and busted line. You don't scale hearts with transactional glue. You scale words with what you consistently do. Who you show up for when it isn't loud is who shows up when the roof falls down. Ray. If your dream has no allies, it is not a dream. It is a fantasy on loan. Network and starve, we don't fake connect. We link through scars, not profile text. Network and starve, we don't posh alone. We built supply lines through flesh and bone. Manual page 4 concloned. No network, no future. No network, no future. No network. You didn't find your name. Your name found a use for you. You didn't choose your mask. Your mask learned how to move. They told you be yourself, let the self is clean, like it isn't patched from 1,000 scenes. Parents, rivals, streets, screens, every wound left a policy in your machine. You think that's you when you feel away, but half that voice was trained to obey. Trauma talks with a borrowed tongue and calls itself truth when it feels like home. Rule 13, call it cranial shell. Identity is software, not a cell. You don't discover who you will be, you update it tactically. Every label is a ranch or a way. Every story a key or a gate. You can live your name like a gauge or wield it sharp like a blade. If your past defines you without review, then your past is the one controlling you.
You inherit a skin full of archive codes, family ghosts, social loads, gender rules, class constraints. Every supposed to etched into veins. They tell you never change your core, but the core was shaped by an early war. You didn't pick what hurt you first, but you pick if it rules you or gets reversed. Rule 14, etched in mirror glass. You were not your first draft. You were not your youngest fear. You were not your worst year. You were the edge at the edge of the frame, deciding what scenes get carried in name. You can rewrite the role without lying inside. You can alter the path without killing the why. Drop the badge when it stops you moving. Drop the flag when it blocks you proving. Drop the myth if it shrinks your range. Your soul is not required to stay the same.
Identity is a tool. We don't worship the mask. We change shape when the mission asks. Identity is a tool, not a prison cell. We decide what survives when the stories revolt.
You can be loyal and still evolve. You can grow without betrayal involved. You don't know your old self, eternal rent. You owe the future what the present can spend. The strongest spine isn't stubborn bone. It's adaptive load with a steady tone. It bends to pressure, not to command. It learns the weapon and becomes the hand. Rule 15, cut through conscious frame. Names are scaffolds, not the flame. Traits are tools, not destiny. Identity is an interface, not a prophecy. You don't lose yourself when you learn new form. You lose yourself when you stay misinformed about who you could be with trained intent instead of who you were when the mold was bent.
If your identity cannot change, then it is not strength. It is a locked room.
Identity is a tool. We don't freeze in skin. We evolve the frame that the wheel moves in. Identity is a tool. We don't kneel to the tag. We rename the blade when the mission is stacked.
Manual page 5 concludes. You are not your label. You are your leverage.
You think you're choosing in a vacuum and will, but the room already told you how to feel. Walls talk, quiet floors speak loud. Every space is a script for the nervous crowd, yeah.
You blame your spine for the way it bends, but you built your life on crooked ends. Same chair, same light, same stale air. Same thoughts, looping through plastic prayer. You call it mood, you call it fate, but the thermostat set in your mental state. Dust in the corner, noise in the lane. You wonder why your focus feels changed. Rule 16 carved in concrete grain. The field shapes a plague before the game. A seed and poison won't grow clean. A lion in a cage won't learn what it means. You can meditate 12 hours straight, but the room still routes what your hands create. You can pray for change with perfect intent while living inside what prevents assent.
You cannot outwill a poison ground. You must smooth the roots so the crop stays bound down. Environment is the hidden hand that guides the breath you never planned. Change the room or lose the fight. You don't rise in a shrinking light. Environment is the hidden hand that tilts the scale you think you command. Fix the ground or beg the sky. Those are the only ways to try.
Lights too dim, make the mind go slow. Noise too thick, makes the patience fold. Screens too close, carve shallow sleep. Food too dead, makes spirit leak. You think it's weakness, think it's you, but the system stacked at the feedback loop. Garbage in, then garbage out, then shame for results you couldn't route. Rule 17 etched in sensory bone. Inputs go what the will calls on. You don't wrestle chaos by effort alone. You outmaneuver by the zone you own. You don't fix hunger just telling it wait. You fix hunger by what's on a plate. You don't master fear with whispered vows. You master fear by whom you stand around.
Look at your desk, look at your floor. Look at the gate that your focus walks through the most. What you allow within arm's reach is preaching to you without speech. Environment is the hidden hand. We don't ignore what we understand. We set the stage for the self we train. We don't grow strong in a frictionless frame. Yeah. Environment is the hidden hand. We don't beg, we'll our land. We move the ground beneath our feet so the climb becomes repeat. Yeah.
Clean rooms build clean loops. Clear lines build stronger troops. Order outside reduces the toll on the part of you, but listen to soul. This ain't about pretty and stage. This about removing the cage, about making a defense. fall aligned with the future you claim is mine. Rule 18, cut an architectural code. Make the right choice, the easiest road. Hide the weapon from your own reach. Put the altar where your habits preach. If you wanna train depth, delete the noise. If you wanna train strength, stock the joints. If you wanna train truth, rearrange the space where you lie to yourself, face to face. You don't live in a neutral room. Every room is voting on who you become, yeah. Environment is the hidden hand. We redesign the map we stand. We stop pretending the air is fair and build the world we mean to it. Environment is the hidden hand. We don't curse fate, we understand. We sculpt the field where the strong ones play. Let the weak and defaults decay. Manual page 6 concludes. Change the ground, then judge the growth.
Pain knocked once, then stayed knocking. You called it fate, it called you listening. You learn real early that hurt gets loud, so you try to be quiet to not draw the crowd. You learn real fast that pain gets praised if you bleed in the shape that the culture displays. You learn to posture your broken parts for sympathy crumbs and digital hearts. They taught you to treat your wounds like shame, they sell you stories where shame is fame. Rule 19, coven sensory nerve. Pain is a signal, for it is a curse. It's a flare in the dark saying something is wrong. Not a verdict etched in a mirror with bone. You confuse the alarm with the bit in itself. Confuse a symptom with a self. You wear the wound like a permanent name, then wonder why the future feels changed. If the fire is speaking, it's not here to judge. It's here to point at the leaking flood. Pain is a signal, not a sentence served. It's a map that hurts, but it still has turns. Pain is a signal, not a final brand. It's a warning light in the nervous land. They told you suffer and you'll be strong, but they never taught what makes the suffering long. They never taught how to read the ache. Never taught when to endure or break. Some pain is payment for chosen load. Some pain is poison in the mist, Labedel road. Some pain builds callous around the wheel. Some pain just drills till the spirit spills. Rule 20 etched in scar tissue math. Not all pain deserves your path. Growth pain sharp as the blade you wield. Decay pain steals what the wound could heal. You don't get credit for staying hurt. You don't get crowned for living in dirt. You get stronger by learning which heat to stay in and which fire strictly filth you're bathing in. Pain teaches listen. If the pain just repeats, relocate. If the pain builds capacity, persist. If the pain subtracts identity, escape. Pain is a signal, we don't worship the burn. We extract the lesson, then we turn. Pain is a signal, we don't build our throne on a fire that only consumes bone. You can be loyal to the war you survive and still outgrow its daily requirements. You don't know your trauma lifelong rent for the way it once kept you alive in a trench. The injury kept you breathing at 10. It does not get to drive you at grown. The shield that saved you in the first collapse can become the cage that steals your maps. Rule 21, cut and heal in steel. The relief is not always the same as heal. Numbing the nervous, not resolving the breach. It's mute in the teacher while the class still leaks. You don't heal by pretending it didn't occur. You heal by deciding what it gets to author. You erase history from the frame. You change who gets to write the next page. Pain is loud because it is afraid that you will ignore the message and keep walking into the play. Pain is a signal, not a life decree. We decode the ache page 7 concludes. Listen to the pain, then decide what it gets to me.
You waited for the feeling never showed. You caught it like a magic, it was like a low.
You keep waiting for a spark like a sand from the sky, like the engine turned itself. If you look at it right, you keep asking for a mood that will carry the day. While the road stays empty cause your feet won't pay. They touch your motivation like it's gasoline, but it's vapor in the cold if the steel ain't clean. You don't move cause you feel it cause you move. That's the part of the circuit they forgot to prove. Rule 22, carbon kinetic bone. Motion generates what the mind calls tone. You don't think your way into a working groove, you grind your way into a thought that improves. The wheel doesn't turn from believing in spin, it turns from the torque that you put in. You can stare at the map with faith in your gut, or you can step once and withdraw the rut.
You don't need a reason that feels alive, you need a step that survives the wild.
Momentum beats motivation, every time, every zone. We don't wait for the fire, we produce our own. Momentum beats motivation, we don't beg the flame. We stack small force till the world has to change.
You mistaken the mood for the motor itself, so when the mood disappears, you shelf the self. You call it burnout, call it fate, but you built no fly way to hold the weight. Every tiny action unfelt and small is a revet in a future wall. Every skip rep, every delay start is interest paid on a dying spark. Rule 23, it's a metabolic law. Consistency beats heroic charge. 1% daily outpaces the leap that only happens when the stars align neat. You don't need thunder every time you rise, you need gravity on your side. You need habits that don't debate with brain, that just move when the clock says train.
One step today still beats 10 in your head. 1 inch in the dark still beats visions in bed. 1 breath on the low beats a promise at rest. 1 scar and slow beats a dream untested.
Momentum beats motivation, we don't chase the high, we chase the chain of applied. Try. Momentum beats motivation, break over spark. We don't search for the fire, we build the art.
Yeah. Most people don't fail from lack of belief, they fail from the bottom up of like in the reef. They want the cathedral without the stone, they want the crown without the tone. They lay beliefs in a nervous frame, they want the trophy without the strain. They want the harvest without the field, they want the soul without learning still. Rule 24, cutting compound time. Small action stack like aftermath. What you do when it barely counts determines the size of your late amounts. You don't need courage in cinematic scale, you need tenderness when the mornings are pale. You don't need destiny roaring loud, you need footsteps that don't ask the crowd.
Waiting to feel ready is a socially accepted way to stay exactly the same.
Momentum beats motivation, we don't pray for the win, we roll through friction till the current bends. Momentum beats motivation, we don't worship the mood, we worship the mood.
Man, what page they conclude? Move first, the feeling will follow. Yeah.
You call it kindness, they call it access. You call it patience, they call it unpaid taxes. You learn to be open like a door, no lock. Every need became yours when the knock never stopped. You thought love meant leaving your post. All loyalty meant letting the wolves get close. They fed on your yes like it came with no cost. Turned your mercy into micro laws. You called it peace when you folded the spine. They called it proof you was eating the mind. Rule 25 carved in perimeter bone. What you don't defend becomes what they own. You don't lose power in a single steal. Your leak is slow through unguarded seals. Access without friction trains disrespect. Familiarity dulls the thread. What you excuse becomes what repeats. What you permit becomes law in the street. You don't need more love from every hand. You need fewer hands inside your land. Boundaries are power, not cruelty, not pride. They are the line that keeps the living parts alive. Boundaries are power, they are not a wall of hate. They are the gate that decides what gets to enter the gate. You confuse peace with the absence of clash, confuse quiet with keeping your cash. But there's a silence that costs you your name and another that saves you from bleeding again. They shame your fences too hard to pull while picking your ribs for emotional gold. They say if you cared you'd give us more while dragging mud across your floor. Rule 26 etched in social steel, no boundary means no real deal. The strongest contracts start with the no, that's how the yes learns how to grow. You don't prove loyalty by self-erasure, you prove it by selective exposure. Everyone isn't meant for the core, some stay poor, some get door. Who drains you when you're low on air? Who only calls when you're the repair? Who loves the access but not the load? Who disappears when you close the road? Boundaries are power, we don't bleed for approval. We don't rent our spine for emotional. Boundaries are power, we don't fear the gate. We protect the future by what we separate. You can be generous without being prey. You can be open without being flayed. You can be warm and still keep the lock. You can be kind and still let it knock. The fence isn't built for the wolves in the wild. It's built for the ones with the friendly smile who step inside and slowly rearrange until your home feels owned by strange. Rule 27 cut in defensive nerve. Your time is a finite reserve. Your energy is not an infinite sea. Your heart is not public property. What you guard defines what can grow. What you ration defines what you know. What you protect becomes what survives through seasons of merciless lies. If you never say no, then your yes has no weight. Boundaries are power, we don't apologize for the line. We don't confuse love with the theft of time. Boundaries are power, we don't frame them as fear. We frame them as proof that something here's worth keeping here. Manual page 9 concludes. What you protect is what you're choosing to become. Boundaries are power. Boundaries are power.
Yeah. You spend like tomorrow is infinite. And wake up shocked when the tank is empty. You call it fatigue, it's overdraft. They taught you to hustle like the well can't run dry, like effort is magic and rest is a lie. But every yes cuts a notch in the blade, every late night writes a future invoice unpaid. You think burnout is weakness or fate, but it's math done late at a brutal rate. Every emotion, every task, every role withdraws from the same essential soul. Rule 28 called it metabolic debt. You don't get more power than you connect. You only shift where the cost is placed, up front and discipline or later in waste. You can feel rich when the credit is fresh, then feel poor when it comes for the flesh. Energy doesn't care about pride or plans, it only cares about balance in your hands. If you don't track what you spend each day, the body will audit you anyway. Energy is a budget, not a miracle. Well, you don't just push through, you play with yourself. Energy is a budget, spend it with design. What bankrupts the body, bankrolls the grind. Yeah. You leak energy through unchosen fights, through conversations that go nowhere at night, through proving to people who won't be convinced, through replaying endings are already rinsed, through worry that never converts a plan, through scrolling at those that live in hand, through being available past your edge, through carrying loads you never pledged. Rule 29 etched in autonomic code. Every leak multiplies the load. You don't collapse from one big cost, you collapse from 1,000 small loss. You don't need more days in a year, you need fewer drains in the gears. You don't need caffeine to feel alive, you need to stop emerging drive. All day your morning, all day your morning, all day your night, all day your night. What gives you charge? What gives you charge? What steals your light? What steals your light? What leaves you stronger? What leaves you stronger? What leaves you shook? What leaves you shook? Your calendar is an open book, yeah. Energy is a budget, we don't waste a stack. We invest where the return actually pays us back. Energy is a budget, we don't pretend we're still. We design a system the body can actually keep real. You can be tired and still blame fate, or you can trace where the current escapes. You can call it destiny, gauge a load. You can patch the bleeding node by no. Sleep is not laziness, food is not sin. Silence is not losing, it's an intake win. You don't earn strength, just bleeding dry. You earn it insulating the supply. Rule 30 cut in recovery law. You don't scale power without a draw. You don't build engines that never cool. You don't sharpen the blade by skipping the pool. You don't make pot on the bank for brain. You don't hold fire on an empty plane. You don't outgrow the need to refill. You outgrow the lie that you shouldn't need to. Running on fuel, running on fuel, running on fuel. fumes is not the same as being strong. Energy is a budget. We don't flex the debt. We don't confuse exhaustion with progress, yeah. Energy is a budget. We don't glamorize bleed. We optimize the engine so it actually leads. Manual page 10 concludes. Track to spin. Then scared to dream. Being scared to dream. Yes. Energy is a budget.
They stole your night and sold it back as coffee. You wonder why your muscles forgot tomorrow. You treat sleep like a luxury item, like rest is a favor the grind doesn't like 'em. You brag about running on fumes and scars, like collapse is a medal you pin in bar. But the brain doesn't care about slogans of pride. It rebuilds or it rots in a quiet tide. You think waking is proof you survived the day, or repair is the toll that you didn't pay. Rule 31 carved in circadian bone. What you skip in rest comes due in tone. In memory, mood, reaction time, in endocrine debt and fracture of drive. You don't push through biology clean. You bruise the future of who you'll be. Sleep is not absence, a will of fight. It's actless construction and silent light. You can train all day and still fall behind if the forge goes cold every night in the mind. Sleep is a weapon, not a retreat. It reloads the wheel with precision heat. Sleep is a weapon, not a waste of grind. It sharpens tomorrow in the dark behind. They keep you tired so you stay suggestible, so your fear stays cheap and your rage collectible, so your patience snaps at the smallest load, so you never stack the long arc code. You scroll through blue light like it's neutral glow while melting the clock. Your hormones know, then they wake correct and call it fate, while the chemistry tallies your late. Rule 32 etched in neural repair. Deep sleep is where you actually get there. Muscle grows when you are inert. Memory binds when the world is cursed. Learning doesn't end when the eyes go black. It migrates inward and writes the track. You don't become who you train by day until the night seals what you meant to say. 8 hours is not indulgence, it is maintenance. 6 hours is not discipline, it is debt. 4 hours is not strength, it is slow collapse with a good slogan. Sleep is a weapon, we don't mark the blade. We don't dull the edge by staying awake. Sleep is a weapon, we don't flex the red. We sharpen the self for the war ahead. Dreams are compression for lit data. They strip the noise and keep the flavor. They test future scripts in a soft front lab. They prototype courage before the stab. You don't just rest, you're organized. You splice tomorrow behind your eyes. You clear the cache of the emotional storm, so the next day boots in cleaner form. Rule 33, cut and restorative steel. What heals fastest feels the least like zeal. It feels boring, it feels unbrave. It feels like stopping where you wanna race. But the long game ignores applause. It only measures functional laws. You don't win by looking awake and hard. You win by looking it's your heart. If they can steal your sleep, they don't need to steal your strength. Sleep is a weapon, we lock it in place. We don't surrender nights to a glowing face. Sleep is a weapon, we guard the gate. We don't train tomorrow in a ruined state.
Manual page 11 concludes. Protect the night. It builds the soldier.
Truth never ruined a life alone. What ruined it was who heard it and who couldn't survive it. You learn real early that lies get reward. They get you invited, they get you adored. Truth get you stared at, truth get you gone. Truth get you whisper, eggs out of dawn. They clap for your silence and tip for your nod. They shun you the day you stop playing the guy. You call it politics, call it being smart. It's fear in a tuxedo, calling so far. Rule 34 carved in social bone. Truth charges interest, you can't postpone. It builds in friendships, it builds in paths. It builds in comfort, it builds in laughs. You don't lose people because you were wrong. You lose people because the lie was too long. You don't shake a system by gently agreeing. You shake it by naming exactly what it's been. If your truth makes everyone comfortable, you probably ran in a filtered version of it. Truth cause social comfort, that's the toll of the gate. You can keep the crowd or you can change fate. Truth cause social comfort, no mess, no hedge. You don't cross the ground without losing some edge. They want honesty served in elegant lies, something that never disrupts a design. They want confessions edited soft, so nobody has to look in the loft. They praise your realness till it gets exact, till it points at the hole in their practice stack. Then suddenly you're too much, too harsh, too loud. Funny how truth gets rude when it starts bowing down. Rule 35, it's a relational still. Belonging bought with silence is not real. If you have to amputate thought to stay, you're not inside a tribe, you're inside a play. You don't lose your people when you speak your core. You lose the actors and keep what's sure. What stays after truth applies is the only thing that was never a lie. Who only loves you when you shrink to fit? Who gets nervous when you name the slit? Who calls a tone when you state the fact? Who says be calm when you tear the mask? Truth cause social comfort. We don't dodge defeat. We don't buy belonging with identity. Yo, truth cause social comfort. We don't trade the spine for a seat at a table that runs on decline. You don't know the crowd to dilute itself. You don't know politeness to a lie in health. You don't know peace to a staged agreement that bankrupt's meaning for a cheap convenience. You can be kind and still be exact. You can be warm and still stay fact. You can be warm and still refuse to participate in collective and truth. Through 36 cutting communicative nerve, clarity always disturbs before it reorganizes the field. Before the fracture becomes something healed. You don't get clean futures through padded speech. You get them through lines that actually reach. The lie keeps the room quiet and neat. The truth makes mass and rebuilds the street. If your honesty never risk exile, it is probably trivia. Truth cause social comfort. We pay it up front. We don't barter the soul for applause and a front. Truth cause social comfort. We don't blur the blade. We make our cuts where the rod has stayed.
Manual page 12 concludes. Choose truth knowingly. It will charge you.
Fear doesn't predict disaster. It predicts proximity to change. You feel the tremor and call it a warning to quit. But earthquakes only happen where the plates don't fit. You feel the sweat and assume it's collapse, but the pulse only spikes when the future is near your grasp. They told you comfort is safety, intention is threat. So you learn to worship what keeps you in debt. You learn to call the cage peace of mind and label the edge as a risky sign. Rule 37, carved in adrenal bone. Fear is a forecast of the unknown. It maps where the old shell starts to crack, not where the road demands retreat or back. The body alarms when the map gets thin, when the route you're on can no longer fit in. It's not a verdict to abort the climb, it's a weather report for the edge of time. If the fear is loud where the vision is wide, that's not the end, that's the other side. Fear is a forecast, not a stop sign. It predicts the storm, where the borderline they already make. They teach you to flinch when the air gets thin. Like altitude is a moral sin. But mountains don't test the cautious tongue. They test the lungs that stay when they burn. You don't drown cause the water is deep. You drown when you freeze at the edge of the leap. Rule 38, etched in survival steel. Panic is fast, but it distorts the real. Fear magnifies cost and shrinks the gain. Presents the storm, but hides the terrain. The brave don't lack the warning siren. They reroute the sound in the guided iron. They factor the shake in the engineer's stance, so the quake becomes rhythm instead of chance. Pulse racing, vision narrowing, hands damp, choices sharpening. This is not danger alone you feel. This is the price of changing what's real. Fear is a forecast. We don't shut the blind when the weather turns wild. In the field, in the frontier of mind, in the front tab, we don't yield to the chill. We layer the will, we elude and advance uphill. And advance uphill, and advance up when we enter the lane. Every training worth keeping feels wrong at first. Every reinvention feels like a curse. Every alignment with deeper law feels like betrayals of who you were before. Fear is grief for the skin you share, for the life you outgrew but haven't buried yet. It's not the enemy, it's the warden crying that the old world is finally dying. Rule 39 cut an evolutionary nerve. The body resists what the future serves. It judges by yesterday's stored design, what tomorrow demands, and refined time. You don't bypass fear to reach the gate. You integrate fear into calibrated weight. So every tremor becomes measured load instead of a veto on the road you're owed. If there were no fear, there would be no signal that you were leaving familiar gravity. Fear is a forecast, fear is a forecast. We read the chart. Oh, we don't cancel the mission, we don't cancel the mission at the first wild part. Fear is a forecast. Oh, fear is a forecast, fear is a forecast. We don't call retreat till we adjust the rig, we adjust the rig, and we enter the heat. Manual page 13 concludes. Fear predicts the frontier, not the failure. Everybody loves the explosion. Nobody loves the pressure that stacks before it. You sprint for a week, then vanish a month. Call it life, call it time, and call it whatever you want. You burn bright once, ain't call that proof. But fire that flashes fast leaves no roof. They glam the grind in cinematic ways, but ignore the miles of unfilmed days. You chase the rush like it's the whole design, while the path is paved in boring time. Rule 40 carved in repetitive bone. Intensity is loud, consistency is home. One storm can rattle 1,000 roofs. One drip can carve a canyon through. You don't build strength on occasional rage. You build it on schedule with weight. You don't win war on a highlight reel. You win in the mornings that feel unreal. If you only move when the feeling is high, you will live at the mercy of a chemical lie. Consistency beats intensity every mile, every year. We don't worship the burst, we respect the gear. Consistency beats intensity, brick by brick, not flame. We don't rise on hype, we rise on the same. You wait for the mood like it's sent from above, but the mood only visits the ones who shove. You wanna be on when the cameras roll, but the real work happens when nobody knows. They love the myth of sudden ascent, but every summit is ran on spin. On days that felt useless, small and slow, but stacked like that in the future glow. Rule 41 etched in calendar steel. What repeat speak comes what feels real. What you schedule becomes what you are, not what you promise beneath the stars. Breaks don't kill you, drift does. Race doesn't end you, what does? It doesn't end without a frame. It's just noise that forgets your name. Same time, same way.
same pace, not dramatic, not loud, just pressure that isn't allowed to bow. Consistency beats intensity, we don't chase the spark, we take the fire through the dark. Consistency beats intensity, we don't flex on show, we flex on what we'll never post. Discipline isn't a mood you catch, it's a contract you quiet enact. It's the art of showing up half alive and still pushing the needle a measurable stride. You don't need thunder to move the line, you need ticks on the clock that you honor in time. The world is built by the boring and brave who return to the work that they already saved. Rule 42 quartet in compound time, small axation to massive spine. You don't fail from one big fall, you fail from skipping the tiny calls. You don't lose the war on a hopeless day, you lose it slowly by walking away from the table where you were meant to stay and stack the future in quiet array. If you only give effort when it's exciting, you are training yourself to quit. Yeah, hey. Consistency beats intensity, we don't bargain with noise. We compound will in incremental choice. Consistency beats intensity, we don't lunge and fade. We advance like tide, unbribed, unafraid. The manual page concludes. Don't be spectacular once. Yeah. Be unskippable daily. Yeah. You think words are soft, think talk is light, but wars are engineered in syllables first. Every empire rises on sentence and oath. Every collapse is drafted in whispers and jokes. You say misunderstanding like it's chance in the air, but most breakdowns are neglected repair. You don't drift apart by mysterious tie. You ride in the gaps where questions die. Rule 43, carving acoustic steel. What you don't say still becomes real. Silence is not empty of act, it's a policy written in delayed impact. You can scream and still never connect. Hey, you can whisper and architect respect. Volume is not the carrier of truth. Structure is what the signal moves through. If the message keeps breaking in flight, check the integrity of the lines. Communication is infrastructure, not decoration, not flair. It's the road that supports what the weight will bear. Communication is infrastructure. You don't build trust on tone alone, you build it on love that can carry load. For reaction and spin for defense, for image, for tactical win. But nobody teaches how to state a need without turning it into a knife or a plea. They teach you the hint, the test, the probe, the weaponized tone and encode the code. And wonder why every bond feels tense, why every room feels like a fence. Rule 44 etched in relational frame. Clarity is cheaper than repair at the flames. Most conflict isn't born from attack, it's born from assumptions quietly stacked. You don't need sharper words, need sober ones. You need space where the whole thought runs. You need courage to say the unslick request without turning the ask into armor or just say what you mean before it becomes a charge. That's what you need before it becomes a scar. Name the break before it becomes a reach. Trace the drift while the bridge still exists. Communication is infrastructure. We don't improvise the beams, we don't wing the low path of shared dreams. Communication's infrastructure. We don't gamble with air, we engineer the channel before we dare. Never reach them. If your syntax was forged by evasion, you can be loyal and still leave them unsafe. If your truth only travels disguised by grace, you can want peace and still plant the fuse. If your signals are trained to confuse, you don't build trust with perfect intent. You build it with patterns that can instantly send. Rule 45 cut in communicative law, where a piece teaches the raw. Your partner learns what to expect from what you do when you're tired or vexed. Your team learns what it's safe to say from who gets punished along the way. Your life learns what you actually mean from the verbs you choose when nobody's seen.
People are always misunderstanding you. The structure is failing, not the crowd. Communication is infrastructure. We don't leave it out vibe. We blueprint the language that lets systems survive from communication. We don't trust the fall. We build with low ratings in every dialogue. Oh, we dialogue. Every dialogue. Oh, we dialogue. Manual page 15 concludes. Build the roads before you try to move weight. You don't live by what you claim. You live by what runs when you're tired.
You decorate life with slogans and flags, but differs decide, but the body drags under pressure, under loss, under time. Your real value surface without a rhyme. You say family, you say truth, you say faith, then fold the convenience and call it fate. When the lights go out and the noise gets thin, your real code shows in the smallest win. Rule 46, carved in logic bone. Your values are not beliefs alone. They are executable lines of choice. They run in silence, not in the voice. You don't have a value cause you approve. You have a value cause it moves you to move. What you protect when the cost is high is the only value that doesn't lie.
If it only matters when it's loud and seen, it is decoration, not a machine. Values, operating systems, they run the design of the, they decide what launches and what delays. Values, operating systems, you don't swap them in speech, you update them in what you reach. Yeah, them in what you reach. Every choice compiles a little more code. Every habit installs a hidden mode. You think you're flexible, open-minded, free, but your defaults betray the firewall key. You always find time for what owns the ring. You always excuse what you crown as king. Your calendar logs your ideology. Your bank statements preach your theology. Rule 47 etched in behavioral steel. What repeats eventually feels real, but real is not the same as right. It just means the code runs every night. You don't drift into a value by accident. You practice it quietly till it's permanent. You don't need vows to refill the drive. You need to audit what stays alive. When fear is loud, what do you say? When pressure hits, what do you trade? When no one knows what you chose, that is the system that truly froze. Operating system. We don't confuse talk with build. We install the code that the future run on will. Operating system. We don't praise the shell, we debug the loop to lose. That decide ourselves. Hey, hey. You can claim justice and still fund decay. You can preach love and still optimize away the quiet betrayal. Stack faster than crimes because they feel small in tactical time. But every justice once leaves a trace. Every night today schedules a place where the lie become muscle memory and the truth becomes ceremonial. Ceremony. Rule 48 cut an ethical wire. Your system will always select what it hides. You don't fail morally in one loud sin. You fail by permissions you slowly let in. What you tolerate becomes baseline law. What you ignore becomes final draw. The operating system never sleeps. It runs in habits you don't critique. If your values only exist when spoken aloud, they are not value. They are marketing. Values, operating systems. We don't worship the brand, we tune the code. They at the level of hand. Operating systems. We don't lie to the law, we change the behavior that rise to the drive. That rise to the driver, God. Hey, hey. Manual page 16 concludes. Don't announce your values, let your defaults prove them. Everyone talks about money. Nobody
talks about the clock that prints it.
You chase the bag like it's the core of life, but the bag is just time in disguise. Every dollar is minutes you already spent. The reflex is a loan from your future's rent. They tell you waste time like it grows on trees, like ours respond with invisible leaves. But time is a blade with a single edge. Every swing either cuts a path of your leg. Rule 49 carved in temporal bone. You can't store time, you can only loan. You can trade it for noise, you can trade it for pain, you can trade it for skill, they will trade it again. But once it's gone, it's not misplaced, it is physically erased. You don't lose time in dramatic falls, you hemorrhage it answering trivial calls. You protect your wallet better than your day, then wonder why your life shrinks away. Time is the only true.
Everything else is a receipt. You don't make more time, you decide what it becomes each week. Time is the only true asset.
You don't spend it twice, every hour is a vote on the shape of your life. They monetize your boredom and sell it back. Add space futures on your cognitive track. Keep you busy with glitter and rage-based storms, so you never build anything that reforms. You think you're broke cause the numbers are thin, but really your calendar's leaking again. You drown in tasks that don't scale or stack, then call it fate when the years snap back. Rule 50 etched in chronological law, urgent really equals important, and all the loud things beg, the real things wait, quietly compounding behind the gate. You don't get poor from one unpaid bill, you get poor for never using your will to protect deep work from shallow heat that eats whole days in bite-sized deceit. What did you build this week that will still be standing in 5 years? What did you scroll this week that already evaporated? Time is the only true asset.
We don't pawn it cheap, we invested in structures that keep on keeping. We don't rent our days to 1,000 voices that can't build a face.
You can always earn another dollar, you can never re-enter an hour. You can rebuild a brand, repair a name. You cannot reload a vanished frame. The goodbye you skipped, the walk you delayed, that book you meant to read someday. Those aren't future options sitting in queue, they are closed doors that already moved.
Rule 51 cut in mortal steel. Mortality makes the asset real. If time would endless, it would have no price. It matters because it dances nice. You don't respect time by talking it grand. You were respected by gutting each hand that tries to pickpocket the breath from your span with glitter gossip and algorithm plans.
If you don't decide what your time is for, someone else's system already has. Time is the only true.
We don't spend it asleep, we don't load it to distractions that don't compound in deep. We don't walk the clock, we weaponize minutes into things that don't ride.
Manual page 17 conclude. Guard your hours. They are your only non-renewable resource. You keep waiting for release. It's been sitting under ownership the whole time.
Yeah. You were told responsibility is a chain that steals your youth, your light, your flame. They sold you freedom as frictionless drift. No weight, no duty, no load to lift. But drift is just slavery without a name. Your hands just find the weather and wave. You don't float toward meaning by dodging the ore. You roll toward it by claiming the shore. Rule 52 called the structural bone. What you own, become what you own. What you deny becomes what owns you. What you refuse to claim will control you. Don't escape burden by shedding all load. You escape it by choosing the one you hold. Unchosen weight crushes, chosen weight builds. That's the hidden hint between slaves and will. If no cost is yours to carry, your life is being carried by whoever collects it. Responsibility is freedom, not a prison cell. It's the lever you pull when you refuse to be held. Responsibility is freedom, it's the price of command. You don't rule your life till it answers your hand. They trained you to outsource your cause and effect to system. The boss is the trends to neglect. So when a wound opens, you say not me. Point at the fog and call it destiny. But destiny hides inside a routine, inside of the boring decisions unseen, inside of the weight you keep passing down, waiting for someday to come back around. Rule 53, etched in agency steel. What repeats with a conscious seal becomes the God you actually serve, regardless of prayer, intent, or nerve. You don't lose control in catastrophic ways. You hand it over in incremental days. You don't wake up owned by a sudden chain. You install the lock through unclaimed blame. On the wind, on the wound, on the promise you postponed too soon. On the mess, on the repair, on the stand when nobody's there. Nobody's there. Nobody's Responsibility is freedom. We don't dodge a light. We pick up the blade and define the fight. Responsibility is freedom. We don't shrink from weight. We sculpt our future by the load we take. You don't mature mature when the years advance. You mature when your choices expand. To include the cost you used to flee. To include the shadow of it's on me. You can live small and blame the storm, or live large and rebuild the form. The life keeps smashing in the ground until somebody claims the sound. Rule 54, cutting sovereign nerve. Power only grows where ownership serves. You can be gifted and still be ruled. You can be fierce and still just a tool. Freedom isn't the absence of change, it's the presence of chosen strain. It's the right to say this is mine to bear, and not flinch back into vacant air. If you won't own the cost of your path, you will always be walking on someone else's road. Responsibility is freedom, we don't fear the claim. We don't dodge the mirror calling our name. Responsibility is freedom, we don't beg release. We seize the wheel and define our lease. Manual page 18 concludes. Own the weight, then move the world. No one talks to you more than you do. No one lies to you more convincingly either. You'd think the war is outside in the street, but the loudest one lives without me. See, every plan you break before it breathes got killed by a sentence you whispered to me. You call it realistic, call it just being smart, but it's fear in disguise with a graduate's heart. You never talk to a friend like you talk to your spine, but you let that voice run your whole damn life. Rule 55 carved in cognitive bone. Language shapes what the body is shown. What you repeat becomes what feels true. Not because of fact, because of use. You don't live in the world as it is. You live in the story your sense writes in. Every I can, every that's just me, is a nail in the frame of your own ceiling. If you planned out in every thought you sow, don't act shocked when the harvest won't grow. You become your inner dialogue. Every phrase is a mold. You don't just think, you cast what you'll hold. You become your inner dialogue. Every word is a vote on the future your nervous system is being taught to promote. You rehearse disaster in perfect detail, then wonder why hope always seems to fail. You practice quitting in silent advance, then feel unlucky when you miss your chance. You tell yourself stories where you're always late, always behind, always the bait. You call it humility, call it restraint. It's programming soaked in polite self-hate. Rule 56 etched in neural steel. The brain believes what it hears every day, not because it's proven, because it's replayed. You don't think negative, you train trajectories. You load the cannon with vocabulary. You fight a future with the words you choose, long before the physical proof arrives to be used. Try this once. Listen to a thought like it was spoken by someone else. You become your inner dialogue. We don't let it run raw. We don't leave the mic on for the part that sabotages law. You become your inner dialogue. We don't censor the truth, but we upgrade the frame that delivers it to use. You can tell the truth without carving the throat. You can face limits without branding the soul. You can admit fear with swearing defeat. You can correct course without calling it weak. There's a difference between feedback and attack, between honest map and verbal knife to the back. Discipline of speech is not silence of self. It's choosing which stories deserve your breath. Rule 57, cut a narrative nerve. Talk is architecture, not just a word. You don't express yourself neutrally clean. You blueprint presence with every routine. The voice in your head becomes the one you obey. When the room gets loud and the sky goes gray, train it now when the stakes feel small, or it will decide for you when you finally fall. If you wouldn't let a stranger talk to you like that, fire
the voice. You become your inner dialogue, we don't outsource the tone. We build a voice that will stand on alone. You become your inner dialogue, we don't pray it will heal. We train the speech that tells the body what's real.
Manual page 19 concludes. Change the words, change the trajectory.
Yeah. You call it drama, the system calls it feedback. Yeah.
You flinch in friction like it's all attack. Like every clash is a sign to backtrack. You call tension toxic, call pressure wrong, but still get softer when it doesn't get strong. You want harmony without the test. You want unity without the mess. You want peace without the art at first. You want the cure without naming the curse. Rule 58 carved in analytic bone. Conflict is data you're meant to own. It's a signal that two systems touch and something in the interface went corrupt. You don't learn what's broken when it's quiet and clean. You learn it where the sparks are seen. You don't do debugger life and comfort alone. You debugger when the error is thrown. If you only seek quiet at any cost, you will bury the map of what you lost. Yeah. Conflict is data, not a personal sin. It tells you where the system stops sinking in. Yeah. Conflict is data, not a war deity. It's raw information about reality. Yeah. You personalize with a structural strain. Take system failure as individual blame. You think disagreement means betrayal of core, when it really means a model's too poor to hold two truths in the same clean frame. So you crown one voice and exile the flame, but the sin is the pressure that proves the seam. It shows you with a blueprint is still a dream. Rule 59 etched in diagnostic steel. What you avoid is what won't heal. If you can't hold heat in the civil lane, you lead, don't explode or quietly drain. You don't resolve tension by wishing it gone. You resolve it by staying while it draws on. Staying long enough to read the lines between intent and impact design and sign. What did you hear that you didn't like? What did they mean that you didn't cite? What truth did you die because it bruised your side? What pattern flash did you try to hide? Conflict is data. We don't mute the feed. We don't shoot the messenger, mirror see. Yeah. Conflict is data. We don't crown the fight. We extract the signal, then refine the side. Oh yeah. Yeah. You can fight to win and still lose the threat. You can be right and still kill what's said. You can silence the room and call it control and still leave rot in the structural soul. The goal of conflict is not to dominate, it's to refine what tried to operate. To upgrade the border where values touch, so the system can carry more coordinated thrust. Rule 60 cut and resolution nerve. Outcome without analysis or swerve. You don't grow from heat alone, you grow from heat that is translated into known. You don't end conflict by collapsing one side, you end it by redesigning the guide. That mean friction inevitable by default code instead of negotiated load. If every conflict feels like proof that you're under attack, you are missing half the message. Conflict is data. We don't flinch at the flare. We read the heat map and re-engineer. Conflict is data. We don't fear the noise. We filter the truth from the collision of voices. Oh yeah. Manual page 20 concludes. Don't run from the clash. Read what it's trying to show you. Yeah.
Feelings are loud, but volume is not command.
You let every surge take the steering wheel. Every move becomes, this is how I feel. So the anger drives, so the fear takes lane. So the sadness negotiates with pain. You call it authentic, call it my truth today. But truth that changes hourly isn't truth that stays. You confuse energy with executive power. Let the weather decide the shape of the tower. Rule 61 carved in autonomic bone. Emotion is charged, not the throne. It is fuel in the engine, not the map, not the hand that keeps the system intact. You need heat to move, need fire to go, but fire alone will burn what you're trying to grow. You don't hand matches the job of design. You feed them the structure and measure time. If every feeling gets equal vote, Your life becomes a riot with no remote. Emotion is energy, not authority. It powers the motion, it doesn't decree. Emotion is energy, not the final call. It moves the wheel, it doesn't build the wall.
You make promises in chemical storms, then wake up shocked when the vow deforms. You declare forever in the peak of a wave, then resent the shore when the tide won't stay. You buy beliefs at the height of rage, then call it growth when the page is staged. But a feeling is a borrower of time, it shifts too fast to be trusted with spine. Rule 62 etched in endocrine steel, neurochemistry is not more appeal. Dopamine doesn't know long-term plan, cortisol doesn't care who you are as a man. Serotonin won't build you a disciplined life, it will only color what feels right tonight. You don't govern a future with temporary load, you govern it by who holds the vote. Feel it, fully, name it clean, do not crown it king or queen. Let it pass, let it speak, but do not give it the master key. Emotion is energy, we don't repress the flame, but we don't let fire rewrite the name. Emotion is energy, we convert the surge into trained elation and crafted nerve. Emotion is energy, we convert the surge into trained elation and crafted nerve. You can feel fear and still move straight. You can feel grief and still calibrate. You can feel rage and still choose delay. You can feel longing and still obey a higher rule than the current rush that says not now when the blood feels lush. Maturity is not dead and drive, it's choosing who steers when the waves are alive. Rule 63 cut and regulatory nerve. Self-governance precedes freedom's curve. You don't become strong by not feeling heat, you become strong by not letting heat compete with the plans you forged when the sky was calm, with the oath you wrote with the steady palm. Weather will always visit the land, only architects decide where the bridges stand. If your feelings always decide, your future will always be accidental.
Emotion is energy, we don't exile the storm, we channel its force into durable form. Emotion is energy, we don't worship the way, we harness the current to build what will stay.
Manual page 21 concludes. Feel everything. Obey selectively.
You were doing fine until you saw someone else doing something else. You measure your life with ball rulers, stack your soul against curated maneuvers. You don't even race, you spectate the track and feel late to a finish you never map. They show you highlights, you compare with the grind. You weigh the summit against your climb. You call it motivation, call it drive, but it hollows the work you're trying to survive. Rule 64, caught in perceptual bone. You can't see a row while reading their own. Comparison distorts both distance and time. It shrinks your progress and glorifies shine. You don't know they're dead, you don't know the scar. You don't see the months behind the bar. You compare your middle to their display, then punish yourself for the delay. You didn't lose a day, you just changed the lens mid-frame. Comparison is a thief with perfect timing. It robs the present while the future's climbing. Comparison is a thief, it steals the truth of pace. It trades your real direction for a borrowed race. They don't show the nights they almost quit, they show the crest when the algorithm hits. They don't show the doubts in the empty room, they show the bloom at the precise right zoom. You scroll through victories like they do, and feel like a failure for being you. But progress is private until it compounds, and suddenly overnight gets found. Rule 65, etched in temporal steel. Visibility is not the same as skill. Some seeds grow underground for years before the surface ever hears. The bamboo waits in secret dark, then breaks the earth in a violent arc. You don't grow slow just because you're unseen, you grow slow because the roots are learning what strong means. Is the pace yours, or is it borrowed? Is the pressure now, or imagination sorrow? Comparison is a thief, we lock the door. We don't weigh our worth on another score. Comparison is a thief, we track our lane. We don't detour destiny for temporary fame. You don't need
need to be ahead of them. You need to be further than you've been. You don't need the time and face the stage. You need continuity on your own page. The quiet grind, nobody claps. The slow repair between your cracks. That's the work that outlives defeat. That's the work that actually cements the creed. Rule 66, cut inside a nerve. Your only rival is the life you defer. You don't compete with strangers online. You compete with your own. Post on design. What they doing today is irrelevant noise. If you're not outrunning yesterday's choice, you don't win by being first in the frame. You win by finishing what you kept naming. If you keep checking that speed, you will never feel your movement. Comparison is a thief. We starve it out. We feed the word that can't be scouted out. Comparison is a thief. We don't negotiate. We secure the vault where the long game waits. Manual page 22 concludes. Run your lane. Let others run theirs.
When the feelings, what remains is what you train.
You think discipline is iron and pain, but it's memory stronger than rain. It's the echo of yesterday's stand, teaching the body what to do with the hand. You don't decide from scratch every day. You execute what you rehearsed in decay. Of the mood, of the hype, of the spark. You rely on the groove, you card in the dark. Rule 67, card in procedural bone. What repeats becomes what's known. You don't try when the pressure arrives. You default to the rituals you archive. Every skip vibrates a competing line. Every honor one tightens the spine. The moment doesn't ask what you feel. It calls the pattern that's most real. If you haven't practiced the right move, don't expect it to visit you uninvited. Discipline is memory in motion. It remembers when you won't. It carries the vibe through erosion. When the mind says don't. Discipline is memory in motion. Not a move, not a flame, it's the past. Deciding the future under a different name. They show you a power, like it's a door. Like strength is summoned when it's needed in full, but you don't foresee in the instant of war. You forge it in quiet, repetitive chore. The battlefield only reveals what you store, not what you wish you would learn to afford. You don't improvise courage at terminal speed. You retrieve the habit you quietly seeded. Rule 68, that's the neuromuscular steel. Training decides what the hands feel real. The weight feels lighter, not because it shrank, but because your nerves now carry the rank. You don't get strong in the moment of strain. You prove I got stacked in mundane pain. The Bible, the book, the vow, the plan. All over the archive of who you became. What you do in this boring. It's who you are when it's loud. What you repeat when it's quiet decides what survives the crowd. Discipline is memory in motion. We don't pray for force, we install. The moves to live becomes our course. Discipline is memory in motion. We don't chase the peak, we build a road. The body can walk, even when the mind feels weak. You can't outsmart repetition. You only get to choose the loop. Either the one that erodes the frame or the one that reinforces the root. Your future will not rise on ideas alone. It will rise on what your hands have known. Longer than your fear, longer than your fire, longer than your new, it's the clear desire. Rule 69, cutting in body law. The body believes what you do most of all. Not what you promise, not what you feel, not what you post, not what you appeal. It believes the hours you spend in the trench with the same damn tool on the same damn bench. It believes the choice you wanted at cost when nobody saw and nothing was close. If your discipline fails under pressure, it was never discipline, it was convinced. Discipline is memory in motion. We don't beg the present to slay. Let the past hold the line for the future we crave. Memory in motion. We don't treat with like chance. We write it into the body and let it advance. Yeah. Manual page 23 concludes. Train today, let tomorrow remember.
Everybody wants trust fast. Nobody wants to earn it slow.
Yeah. You swear allegiance with a mouthful of vows, but vanish the moment the system asks how. You promise with volume, you pledge with fire, but proof lies quiet in the middle of the tide. They like you loud when the future's clean. They don't like you when the margins lean. Everybody's loyal when the road is wide. Loyalty is measured at the edge where excuses hide. Rule 70 carved in verification bone. Trust doesn't listen, it counts what's shown. It doesn't weigh in 10 or what could have been. It weighs what stood when the lights went dim. You don't earn trust in dramatic scenes. You earn it in dull adherence to routine. You don't gain credit from speeches of care. You gain it from patterns that stay when it's bare.
Consistency is the only language trust actually understand.
Trust is built
The speed of proof,
not at the speed of need.
not the speed of truth.
Trust is built
The speed of proof. Every time you show up, you deposit a move. Yeah, yeah.
They ask for faith before they show a day. Ask for loyalty before the debt is paid. They want belief to arrive in bulk, but never show bulk in the weight they hold. They want the benefit of unforeseen doubt, but recoil where in return requires route. You can't take shortcuts through reliability. You can only rent the illusion of stability. Rule 71 etched in relational steel. Trust compounds like interest on real. Every kept word adds fractional mass. Every broken one taxes the past. You don't erase suspicion with charm or heat. You drown it in boring, relentless repeat. Everything you said you would do long ago. When nobody clapped and nobody would know. Who shows up when the prophet is thin? Who keeps form when the room goes dim? Who still moves when the praise goes mute? Who still stands when the crowd goes loose? Trust is built
At the speed of proof,
we don't rush the gate.
we enforce the roof.
Trust is built
At the speed of proof,
we don't sell belief.
we deliver the truth.
Trust is built
At the speed of proof, we don't sell belief, we deliver the truth.
You don't need to beg for someone's faith. You need to behave in a predictable way that matches your mouth when the pressure spikes, that doesn't evaporate on a minor strike. People stop trusting, not because of one flaw, but because of that pattern of flaw. Trust to draw. Trust isn't fragile glass from a tail. It's still slowly bent by 1,000 small fails. Rule 72, cutting commitment nerve. Reliability, it outruns fervor. You don't prove your word by how you feel. You prove it by how long you keep it real. You don't gain trust by demanding belief. You gain it by removing the need for belief, cause the proof is learned how to walk without escort from the mouth that talks. If you have to insist that you're trustworthy, you're already spending a deficit. Trust is built
At the speed of proof,
we don't borrow the credit.
of untested truth.
Trust is built
At the speed of proof,
we let the ledger fill.
before we move the roof.
Manual page 24 concludes. Don't ask for trust. Accumulate it, yeah.
You think you're choosing what you accept, but what you accept is choosing what stays.
You keep letting little things slide. Call it peace, call it being the bigger side. But lenience without standard is seed, and every seed grows what it's allowed to be, yeah. You forget patterns like they were storms, then act surprised when the weather reforms. You say that's just how they are, that's just you writing future scars. Rule 73, caught in behavioral bone. What you tolerate becomes a tone. You don't teach people how to treat you by speech. You teach them by what you quietly reach. Past the line you said you keep, past the limit you swore was deep. Allowance is a form of instruction. Silence is blueprint and slow construction.
If you don't correct the small breach now, you are consenting to the large one later.
You reproduce what you tolerate. Every crack becomes a gate. You reproduce what you tolerate. Every justice once replicates. You reproduce what you tolerate. Not by wish, but by law. What you don't confront today is what tomorrow will draw, yeah.
You call it love when you swallow the stab. Call it patience when you bankroll a scam. Call it grace when you fund decay and resent the rot you helped delay. You think you're avoiding a scene, but you're underwriting the next routine. You think you're keeping the peace intact, but you're mass producing the same damn act. Rule 74, action, social steel. Unchecked behavior always returns in scale. If it works once, it will try again with sharper teeth and a thicker skin. People optimize for frictionless gain. They push the fence where it does not strain. Your limits are mapped by where you yield, not where you feel you should be sealed. Where did you flinch when you should have stood? Where did you not when you should have said no more? Where did you laugh when the line was crossed? Where did you pay for what should have cost? You reproduce what you tolerate. We don't nurture decay. We excise at the seed of state. You reproduce what you tolerate. We don't bankroll rock. We repossess the space it got. Boundaries aren't punishment or pride. They're quality control for life inside. You prune a tree not because you hate, but because you want fruit that can actually stay. Correction is care when it's clean and exact. Neglect is what dresses abuse and slack. You don't stop harm with whispered hope. You stop harm with a closed damn door and a rope. But no, Rule 75, cutting corrective law. Delay discipline and amplifies flaw. You don't avoid pain by letting it pass. You postpone it with interest that grows in mass. You don't keep order by fearing the fight. You keep order by defending what's right. At the first small fracture in the frame before it learns how to call itself normal and reigns. If something keeps happening, it's not fate, it's permission. You reproduce what you tolerate. We don't breathe the weak line, we select the standard that survives. You reproduce what you tolerate. We don't soothe the wound, we remove the
Page 25 concludes what you allow is what you are training the future to repeat.
Pressure doesn't mean you're feeling. It means ways are right. You feel the squeeze and call it collapse, but compression is how force adapts. You feel the burn and assume you're done, but still get shaped exactly where it runs. They told you stress is a sign to quit. The tension is proof you don't quite fit. But nothing grows in frictionless air. Nothing sharpens in velvet prayer. Rule 76, called the structural bone. Stress is a load, not a verdict stone. It measures the gap between what you train and what the moment now demands. You don't break because the weight is wrong. You break because the frame stays small too long. You don't fail because it hurts to hold. You fail because you never learned to fold and reload. If the load is new, the pain is not proof of end. It is proof of entry. Stress is a load, not a verdict, not a sign you're through. Stress is a load, it reveals the size of the structure in you. Stress is a load, we don't curse the strain, we reinforce the frame. They anesthetize you with take it easy, while the system keeps increasing levy. They mute the signal instead of the breach, then shame you when the silence leaks. Some stress is poison from crooked design. Some stress is growth in compressed time. One rots your nerve, one builds your span. Same sensation, different plan. Rule 77 etched in diagnostic steel. You must classify the stress you feel. Is it overload from misaligned life, or is it tension from a sharpened knife? Being forged in the future, formed by controlled exposure to calibrated storm. You don't eliminate weight to grow strong. You regulate contact with it all along. Too much weight shatters, no way lets you rot. The art is the margin between not enough and too hot. Stress is a load, we proud of mass. We don't let poison masquerade as class. Stress is a load, we tune the dose so the system adapt, not decomposes. Yeah. Burnout is not proof you are weak. It's proof your recovery window went bleak. Fatigue is not failure of will. It's unpaid balance and biological build. You don't become resilient by drowning in strain. You become it by cycling through intelligent pain. Load, adapt, repair, advance. That's the real training dance. Rule 78 called adaptive nerve. Recovery is a performance curve. You don't grow when rep alone. You grow in the gap where the tissue is sewn. You don't win by grinding without cease. You win by pause between war and peace. Stress doesn't end the capable line. Mismanaged stress does over time. If every stress feels like proof you're breaking, you were never taught how to build. Stress is a load, we don't reject the weight. We regulate contact at a survivable rate. Stress is a load, we don't confuse pain with doom. We treat pressure as data and redesign the road.
Manual page 26 concludes. Don't fear the load. Engineer your ability to carry it.
Stress is a load.
Fear closes doors fast. Curiosity reaches for the handle.
You hit unknown and you call it threat. Call it danger before data's met. You label the dark like it's guilty space before you even seen a face. They taught you caution like it's holy law. Not as a break but a prison wall. So every question feel like sin and every edge feels like you'll fall in. Rule 79 carved an exploratory bone. Fear shrinks the map to what you already own. It keeps your road small and safely stale while the frontier rots behind the rail. Curiosity doesn't promise peace, it promises accurate grease. For the gears that lock when the mind won't move, because unknown was trained as taboo. If you never ask what lives past the line, you will live your life inside a diagram. Curiosity is the antidote to fear's first lie. It doesn't erase the storm, it teaches you why. Curiosity is the antidote to frozen ground. It asks one clean question and the map expands its sound. They reward compliance and punish the probe. They praise the not and pathologize. Why do they call you difficult, restless, too much? The moment your question requires a touch of the frame that keeps the lie intact, of the script that profits from just don't ask. Because questions are drills on untested ground and truth doesn't like the sound. Rule 80 edged in epistemic steel. What you don't question, you eventually kneel. Not because you chose to bow, but because the mind never learned how to operate without borrowed lanes and navigate without pre-approved planes. You don't get ruled by force alone. You get ruled by the answers you've never known. What would break if you asked it clean? What will fall if you name the scene? What will live if you let it be seen? Curiosity is the antidote to fear's first lie. It doesn't erase the storm, it teaches you why. Curiosity is the antidote. We don't and it stars up. We aim it like a focus blade and carve the answer out. Curiosity is the antidote. We don't worship the fear. We interrogate the shape of it till the structure is clear. Don't outgrow fear by being brave, you outgrow it by mapping the cave. By counting the teeth, the walls, the floor, by learning what the monster actually wore. Most terrors dissolve and measured like not an heroic speech or a chess beat fight. The shadow stays used when you refuse to look. It shrinks the moment the gaze is hooked. Rule 81 cutting cognitive nerve and dark invasion weakens the curve of imaginary doom and projected cause that thrives where detail is lost. You don't slay dragons with fantasy swords, you disarm them with measurable coordinates. You don't conquer terror with blind belief, you dismantle it with texture relief. If you refuse to look closer, your fear will always look infinite. Curiosity is the antidote. We don't flee the zone. We walk it with questions till the unknown has bones. Curiosity is the antidote. We don't panic at the end. We document the border before we cross the land.
Manual page 27 concludes. Ask better questions. Fear cannot survive precise attention.
You're not who you claim, you're who you rehearse. You talk like identity's a birthright script, like who you are is some sealed off chip. But the mirror updates by what you repeat, not by what you say when the room gets seated. You don't wake up brave from a vow one night, you wake up brave from 1,000 small fights. You don't wake up weak from a curse you heard, you wake up weak from the acts that would defer. Rule 82 carved in behavioral stone, repetition is the chisel of bone. You think once, you feel once, you claim once, but what you do again says the stance. Identity isn't your loudest belief, it's your most frequent brief. It's the loop that runs when willpower fades, it's the motion that stays when the slogan decays. If you only are something in theory, your body never got the memo. Identity follows repetition, not intention, not speech. You become what you practice even when you don't preach. Identity follows repetition, every scar, every groove. You don't wake up one thing, you train it through what you do. They say be yourself like the self is fixed, like you're not stitched from unfinished scripts. You think change is betrayal, a loss of truth, but Stacy says just loyal to a note abuse. Every habit votes on who takes the chair in the council room behind your stare. Every pattern becomes a face you eventually wear in every space. Rule 83 etched in neuroplastic steel, but fight just together becomes real. You don't try to be disciplined long, you while you're disciplined through repetitive song of act after act, choice after choice, until the nervous system speaks in that voice. You don't wake up a master of will, you wake up what you practiced until. What do you do when nobody sees? When the mask is off and the clock is weak? That is a self you are growing in secret. That is a future you are slowly teaching. Identity follows repetition, we don't outsource the mold. We press the form with daily heat till the shape holds. Identity follows repetition, we don't wait for a sign. We call the face of the person with the timing of crime. You can lie in a sentence and stay the same. You can lie in a year and become the name of the thing you once promised you'd never be, because the body obeys frequency. More than morality, more than creed, it obeys what it consistently sees. You feed every shortcut, slightly redraws the path. Every delay rewrites the aftermath. Rule 84 cut in embodied law, character restored and procedural draw. You don't have traits floating clean in air. You enact them in how you repair. After the slip, after the miss, after the urge that tries to twist. Who you are isn't what you meant, it's what survived at the present been. If you don't like who you're becoming, change what you're repeating. Identity follows repetition, we don't blame the past. We alter the loop and the future recast. Identity follows repetition, we don't wait to feel free. We practice the actions that match what we're choosing to be. Manual page 28 concludes. Repeat consciously. You are training a person, whether you mean to or not.
You keep waiting to find your purpose, like it fell somewhere behind the couch of destiny. They sold you purpose like a lightning strike. One big moment wrapped in neon light. Like angels drop it into your chest, and suddenly life makes sense and rest. But meaning doesn't arrive fully formed. It condenses slowly in pressure and storm. You don't wake up caught in a cinematic flare. You become cold by what you carry when nobody cares. Rule 85, carved in vocation, no bone. Purpose is not discovered, it's grown. It's the residue of indoor load. The problem stay with on a long back road. You don't stumble in a significance by chance. You accrue it through repeated stance toward the thing that keeps asking for you after the praise and the novelty are through. If you don't like what your life is for, look at the problems you keep solving for free. Purpose is a consequence, not a gift from the sky. It's what remains after you said I'll stay 1,000 times. Purpose is a consequence of what you choose to bear, not what you search for in comfort. Yeah, you chase the grand while like is the key, ignoring the small, who needs me? Right now, right here in the room, and the task you rather assume was beneath you. But the colonnades in the mundane trench, and the unsexy work that tests your wrench. And the thing you fixed that wasn't your fault, but became your weight when others ball. Rule 86 etched in existential steel, meaning follows apply will. You don't get purpose, be for the strain. You get it after you agree to the chain of showing up past the thrill and spark, past the part where the map goes dark. The people who find their reason late are the ones who work that I guarantee a fate. What problem won't leave you alone? What injustice needles your bone? What work follows you in the sleep? What mess do you keep trying to sweep for free? Purpose is a consequence. We don't hug the flame. We stack the burden till the fire knows our name. Purpose is a consequence. We don't wait to be chosen. You don't get meaning by declaring a brand. You get it by bleeding usefulness into your hands, by being the one who answers the call after the crowd and the clapping fall.
Purpose isn't glamorous in its early skin. It looks like labor you didn't win. It looks like staying when escape feels clean. It looks like loyal to a half-built dream. Rule 87 cut in distilled law. Purpose is what's left after you resign from all. After the fantasy of being selected by name. After the hunger is in dramatic acclaim. It's the quiet gravity that bends you out when every other motive has been burned out. It's the thing you would still do if no audience was ever going to approve. If you're still waiting to find your purpose, you're probably refusing a burden that's already yours. Purpose is a consequence. We don't chase the crown. We build the work that the crown grows on. Purpose is a consequence. We don't look for fade. We become the answer to a problem that wouldn't go away. Manual page 29 concludes. Stop asking what your life is for. Look at what it already refuses to abandon.
Everybody wants the outcome. Nobody wants the loop that builds it. Yeah.
You chase a peak like it's the whole terrain. Like one great moment will cancel the chain. But mastery lives in the unfilmed grind, in 1,000 dope reps that nobody minds. You want the sword without the blisters, want the crown without the quiet winners, want the fluency without broken sound, want the lift without touching the ground. Rule 88, carved in procedural bone. Skillers will survive when excitement's gone. You don't become lethal, it's something by thrill. You become lethal by train. Will the hands get bored long before they get great? The mind gets restless long before the gate. The ones who quit call it lost their spark. The ones who stay call it did depart.
If you need novelty to stay in motion, you will never reach precision.
Misery born on purpose. Repetition is the forge. We don't flirt with the edge, we become the edge through gorge. Misery born on purpose. Not flashy, not loud. It's exacting the move when nobody's around. They glam the montage, skip the middle years. Skip the doubt, the sweat, the private tears. They love the highlight, hate the route. Love to win, resent the grout. They held the bricks while the walls were slow. They only show what the cameras know. They never show the mornings that bled into a future nobody promised ahead. Rule 89, etched in craft steel. Whoa. The dull days pay the real. You don't train brilliance in special sessions. You train it in scheduled devotion. You don't earn mastery by feeling aligned. You earn it by returning when the alignment died. You don't get sharp on the days you're inspired. You get sharp on the days you're tired. Same tool, same motion, same time. No glory, no stage, just pressure. I won't disengage. Mastery is born on purpose. We don't chase the rush. We chase the silent refinement of touch after touch. Mastery is born on purpose. We don't worship flair. We worship the craft that survives when flair isn't there. Talent is cheap in a crowded world. Discipline is rare as a clean heart pearl. Everyone's gifted for a little while. Very few will walk the mile where skill gets ugly, repetitive, slow. Where nobody's clapping and nobody knows. Where the hands keep moving out of oath. Not because it's fun, because the work is the oath. Rule 90 cut in manual law. Boredom is the toll you pay for all. If you can't do the flat gray line, you don't get the sharp incline. You don't arrive at excellence through thrill. You arrive through covenant with will to keep returning when the room feels bare and the dream feels cheap and the air feels thin there. If you get bored before you get precise, didn't want mastery, you wanted stimulation. Mastery born on purpose. We don't negotiate the grind. We die the same damn move till it engraves the mind. Mastery born on purpose. We don't need to feel inspired. We need to feel exact when the future is on the wire. Manual page 30 concludes. Stay when it gets dull. That's where the real edge is forged.
Power is level.
Power is never free. It is always assumed by somebody. You wait for a title like it's divine consent. Like authority falls when the room nods meant. You
wait for permission, wait for applause while chaos keeps writing uncontested laws. But leadership isn't an outfit you're handed, it's the wage assuming the structure restrained. It's what you do when nobody told you to move, and the cost of not moving is paid by the group. Rule 91, carved in command bone. Leader's a verb, not a throne. You don't become a leader when others bestow. You become one when you shoulder the load, and no one else wants to lift in the dark when the plan is holes and the future is bark. And somebody must begin to storm and fog before the wolves organize the mob. If you won't act without applause, you don't want leadership, you want witnesses. Leadership is taken, not granted by a crown. It's claimed in the moment when the standard falls down. Leadership is taken, not given by name. It's seized in the fire where the risk eats fame. They call the loudest and call it their head. They follow the confident into the red. But volume is not vision, heat is not map. Most crowds are lost by a well-dressed trap. Real leaders move when the vote is unclear. When the room is comfort and the answer is fear. They walk first when the ground feels thin and let the bridge appear from discipline skin. Rule 92, etched in strategic steel. Leadership prefers action appeal. The crowd forgives hesitation and talk, but never forgives stillness when it's time to walk. You don't lead by declaring command. You led by being the first to stand. When standing has no guaranteed win. No early proof and no built-in grit. Who moved first when the air was wrong? Who spoke first when the lie was strong? Who stayed last when the fallout came? Who carried heat without trading blame? Leadership is taken, we don't wait our turn. We step in the gaps while others adjourn. Leadership is taken, we don't rent the road. We assume the cost with our whole control. You don't lead cause you're fearless inside. You lead because you wanna fear this side. For everyone else what the story will be when the past splits at uncertainty. Leadership isn't loud, it's exact. It's knowing when to hold and when to act. It's absorbing the chaos that will break the rest so the group can move or reduce stress. Rule 93 cut in sovereign nerve. Leaders metabolize the curve. They take the first dose of the unknown so others don't have to jump blind alone. They show the ambiguity is tax paid in advance so the line can relax. You don't prove command by dominating noise. You prove it by stabilizing choice. If you only lead when you're comfortable, you are not a leader, you are a manager of safety. Leadership is taken, we don't beg the gate. We redraw the border where others wait. Leadership is taken, we don't sell the face. We carry the burden of choosing a pace. Manual page 31 concludes. If you see the gap and refuse to enter it, you just elected whatever fills it next. Leadership is taken. Leadership is taken. Every direction charges a toll. You just don't see the booth at first. You want the future without a cut. Wanna rise without bleeding the rut. Wanna climb without dropping the pack. Wanna gain without losing the slack. But motion always sheds dead weight. Every arc demands a closed gate. You don't move forward carrying awesome doors. Only open when others fall. Rule 94 carved in castle bone. Every yes writes 100 no's. Every path prunes parallel lives. Every focus kills alternatives. You don't get to keep every version of you. You must choose which one survives the proof. The dream grows heavy, the past goes loud, and one of them always gets thrown to the ground. If the road feels light in every way, you're probably not committed yet. Sacrifice is the price of trajectory. Every distance costs identity. Sacrifice is the price of going far. Something you would die is where you are. They praise the win and curse the loss, but the win is built on a quiet cross. So weak is buried, the bridge is burned. The comfort's killed, so skill could be learned. You think sacrifice is dramatic blood. It's boring removal of easy mud. It's saying no when yes feels sweet. It's killing escapes to soften your feet. Rule 95, etched in kinetic steel. Progress feeds on what you're willing to kill. Not in rage, not in spite, but with steady surgical sight. You don't sacrifice once in the heroic scene. You sacrifice daily in what goes unseen. In the temptations you quietly starve so the future can feed on the clean and carve. What did you drop to keep this pace? What did you bury to clear this space? What did you starve so this could grow? What did you lose so this could grow? Sacrifice is the price. We don't pretend it's fair. We pay the toll with open nails. Sacrifice is the price. We don't run the tab. We settle in blood instead of wishing fair. You don't sacrifice what you don't value. You sacrifice what's the pulls at you. The thing you cut still calls your name. That's how you know it had real flame. Weak desire doesn't hurt to drop. Strong desire feels like ripping the top of something that still wants to live. So something greater can receive the give. Rule 96 cutting directional law. Attachment is the true cost to draw. The deeper the bond, the higher the fee. To reroute the nervous biography. You don't prove commitment by what you gain. You prove it by what you're willing to drain out of the system that carried you old until the future has room to hold. If your dream requires no loss, it's not a dream. It's a fantasy with zero gravity. Sacrifice is the price. We don't curse the cut, we carve the root with the blade of butt. Sacrifice is the price. We don't start a fair, we trade who we were for who must get there. Manual page 32 concludes. Choose what you will lose. The path will choose the rest.
You think you manage your image, but your habits already hide a projector.
You polish the mask in public light, then live another life out of sight. You think the lie won't learn your walk, won't copy your gait, your tone, your talk. But character leaks through hairline cracks, through how you treat what won't clap back. Through what you do when the deal is clean and no one's watching the space between. Rule 97 carved in social bone. Reputation is a fossil of what you've shown. It's not what you claim, not what you tweet. It's the residue of your repeated fee. You can fool a room for a bounded time. You can't fool a pattern that outlives the rhyme. What you do in private drafts to public script long before the crowd gets a single clip. If you don't like the shadow on the wall, look at the form you keep casting it from. Reputation is a shadow of repetition, not a rumor mill, not a single decision. Reputation is a shadow, it follows true. Every step you take is teaching it how to move. They think reputation is made by press, by optics spinning public stress. But the crowd only echoes what time already wrote. An action stack past the point of no. You don't get labeled by one loud act. You get labeled by the average of your track. Over months of arrivals and quiet delays over who you serve and who you trade. Rule 98, that's the collective steel. Society remembers what you make it feel again and again in pattern and tone. Long after the promise and posture are gone, you can rehab a moment, remix a scene, but you cannot edit routine. A graphic gives drama and hypocrisy. It never forgets and stays in velocity. Who do you become across ordinary days? Not the war, not the wind, just the usual ways. Reputation is a shadow. We don't curate the fog, reshape the body that throws a log. Reputation is a shadow. We don't chase the crowd, we train the pattern that speaks when we're not loud. You don't need to sell them who you are. You need to live it past the boulevard, past the brand, past the stage, past the spin, where the real reputation begins. In the boring spaces that never stream, in the check you cut when the lines in between, and the call you answer when the profit is thin, and nobody would know becomes moral origin. Rule 99 cutting reputational law. Your name will always congeal from your draw. Which choices you fun with flash and time, not with slogans, not with pantomime. You don't earn a name by design in the shell. You earn it by what you consistently tell the world through your hands. Your power's your strain until even your silence is the same. If your reputation surprises you, you weren't paying attention to your habit. Reputation is a shadow. We don't polish the wall, we sculpt the figure that casts it all. Reputation is a shadow. We don't fear its truth, we teach it our shape through discipline proof. Manual page 33 concludes. Don't manage your image, train your pattern.
You feel inspired, then the feeling leaves. The structure is what stays.
Yeah. You build on emotion like weather is law. Like the day's heat will hold up the mother's wall. You sprint on Monday, stall on Thursday. Call it human, call it burned away. But the world doesn't run on how you feel. It runs on what you make repeatably real. Feeling is a spark, not a beam. You can't rule for life on a passing gleam. Rule 100 carved in architectural bone. Systems don't care how you feel at dawn. They execute functions without debate, while moves negotiate with fatigue and fate. You don't scale a vision by will alone. You scale it by scaffold you can lean on when motivation's gone. You don't win by being inspired today.
You win by being operational on the grid. If your plan only works when you feel strong, it is not a plan, it is a vibe.
Systems outlive moves, they don't blink, they don't fold. They carry the mission when the will gets cold. Systems outlive moves, they don't beg the nerve. They keep the machine going when emotion swerves.
You confuse discipline with personality trait, but discipline is just a catch of fate. It's not who you are, it's what you build, so you can keep moving without new guilt. You don't wake up every day wanting to grind, but the system wakes you with predefined lines of where to go, what to do, how to start, without asking permission from the heart. Rule 101 etched in operational still. Automation frees the will, the less you must decide in heat. The more accurate you keep the smooth repeat. You don't preserve energy by constant choice, you preserve it by never in sequence and voice, until the body knows the path by load, not by debating every band in the road. Alarm ring, shoes on, door shut, stay gone. Not dramatic, not grand, just the system moving the hand.
Systems outlive moves, we don't gamble on drive. We pre-wired emotion that keeps goals alive. Systems outlive moves, we don't trust the spark. We build the engine that runs in the dark. Emotion is seasonal, systems are climbing. You don't bet the harvest on one hot alignment. You build irrigation when the rain is kind, so drought can't murder what discipline planned. Every pro you admire looks gifted in light, but the real genius lives in nightly write-up. Code into muscle and time allocation, not runaway inspiration. Rule 100 to cut an institutional law. What's not systematized will eventually stall. The moment you're sick, bored, rich, or hurt, your passion will deserve.
But the system that never cared about mood or carry the load you once moved with zeal and groove. You don't keep a future alive by vibe, you keep it alive by rules you can't bribe. If your progress depends on how you feel, your future is being negotiated by weather.
Systems outlive moves,
we don't trust the rush, we trust the process that survives the crush.
Systems outlive moves,
we don't wait to feel right, we let structure decide what gets done each night. Hey. Manual page 34 conclude. Don't build your life on feelings, build it on systems that function when feelings vanish.
They said money makes the world move. They lie. Attention does.
Hey, every ad is a mugging in polite disguise. Every ping is a tax on your inner life. You think you spend time on harmless screens, but you're laundering focus for unseen machines. They don't want your cash at the deepest tier. They want your eyes, your dread, your ear, because what you behold rewires the brain, and the one who controls your gaze owns your lane. Rule 103, card the perceptual bone. Attention is the fuel of what you become. The mind grows in the direction of its sun. You don't stop your future with bullets and fire. You stop it with what you consistently admire. The scroll is a river that always decides which thoughts survive and which ones die.
You don't choose what you stare at. You have already chosen what you serve. Attention is the real currency, not the bill, not the stat. Whatever you feed with your eyes is what pays you back. Attention is the real currency. You don't buy what you see, you become what you orbit relentlessly.
They sell your focus by the millisecond, auction your nervous system to the highest second. Your outrage gets rented, your hope gets leased, your boredom gets farmed for algorithmic feast. You think you're just watching, just killing some time, but time is the body of the mind, and they carving it into branded lanes while you call it relaxing and paying chains. Rule 104-ish, neurological steel. What fires your attention? Why is your will drift into greatness by passive intake? You drift into whatever is easiest to take. Your habits of focus are training a beast that either hunts or rising or choose at your feet. You don't lose life in a sudden theft, you lose it in 1,000 tiny attentional debts.
What steals your focus when you're tired and weak? What grips your soul when you think you're off duty? That is your ruler, quiet and unseen. Ding, 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 ding. Attention is a real currency. We don't spend it cheap. We don't loan our vision to distractions that don't keep. Attention is a real currency. We don't flood the the field. We aim the beam at what we intend to yield.
You can't build a future with fractured gaze. You can't sharpen thought in scattered haze. The mind becomes what it practices, seeing detail of noise, depth of fleeing. Masters of any domain guard this gate, not with superstition but with calendar weight. They choose what enters the eye and ear, like a king choosing who comes near. Rule 105, cutting sovereign law. Where your attention goes and goes, your empire grows. You don't need more hours, you need fewer leaks. You don't need a lot of motivation speeches. You need stricter attention, no treaties between the future you claim you want and the input you constantly front. If you can't control your attention, you don't own your life. Attention is a real currency. We don't spray it white, we invest it like capital with compounded pride. Attention is a real currency. We don't worship the glare. We train the gaze to build what will stay there.
Manual page 35 concludes. Guard your attention like blood, because it is feeding something, whether you like it or not.
You think momentum is motivation? It's chemistry. You wait to feel ready like it's weather on cue, but motion is what instructs the move. The body doesn't move because the spirit agreed. The spirit wakes up when the body proceeds. They told you just think positive while your blood stayed idle and the gears went stiff. But the nervous system doesn't obey pep talk, it obeys repeated walk. Rule 106, carved in kinetic bone, energy follows motion. Not the other way around in devotion. You don't get moving when you feel alive. Feel alive after you moved and survived. The spark is not the start of the chain. The chain is the start of the flame. Biology always does the key first. Consciousness rides it after the burst. If you're frozen, waiting for the feeling, the engine will never ignite. Momentum is a biological state, not a lucky swing, not a mental trait. Momentum is a biological state. We move the body so the mind can wake. One step shifts the blood just enough. 2 steps prove the flow is still there. 3 steps wake the lung and the drum. 4 steps make the future fair. You think you need courage to move your feet, but your feet will teach you how to compete with dread, with doubt, with psychic weight, by simply proving motion changes state. Rule 107 etched in neural muscle still. Action breed its emotional will, or the brain releases what the muscle requests. Chemistry follows physical test. You don't think your way into momentum gain. You walk your way into dopaminergic rain. You don't argue fatigue into retreat. You are walking by command in the feet. Stand up, blood shifts, eyes clear, world tilts. This is the lever they never taught you was here. Momentum is a biological state. We don't beg the mind, we stimulate the gate. Momentum is a biological state. We light the circuit by loading the plate. Allow us that drive is a personality gift, but drive is a loop you physically script. With sleep, with food, with breath, with pace, with what you do and embody space. You get stuck because you're broken inside. You get stuck, emotion circuits died. Reboot the body, the mind will follow. That's the oldest firmware in every tomorrow. Rule 108, cut in somatic law. You regulate mood through physical draw. You don't fix depression in thought alone. You fix it by motion that teaches bone. Not as cure, not as denial of death, but as a mechanical basis of breath that lets how you work. You would take a seat inside a system field that are chosen to move its feet. If you can move your body, you can change your mind's chemistry. Momentum is a biological state. We don't worship the dream, we start the gate. Momentum is a biological state. We move first and let clarity translate. Manual page 36 conclude. Don't wait to feel driven. Drive of the body and the mind will accelerate. You keep blaming willpower while living inside a trap you decorated. You swear it's all about inner fire, but you sleep in a room wired to expire. You put junk in reach, put discipline fall, then curse your hands for grabbing the job. You think failure is a personal flaw, but the room already wrote the law. Your desk, your fridge, your phone, your door, all vote
on your fate long before you saw. Rule 109, carved an ecological bone. The environment trains you when you're not at home. And motivation and memory, entire states. It scripts behavior while you debate. You don't rise to who you wanna be. You sing to the cues you constantly see. Every object is a quiet instruction. Every setting a behavioral construction. If the room makes it easy to fail, you don't need more will. You need a new room. The environment always wins. It doesn't argue with will. It just repeats the lens. The environment always wins. It shapes the fight before it begins. They sell you hero myths of pure self-control, but nobody wins in a rigged control. Hope candy in the pocket of a fasting saint, and watch theology bend to restraint. Silence in a scrolling cage, and watch focus bleed in 1,000-page rage. Willpower is a battery, not a grid. The grid decides how long the current lasts. Rule 110, etched in behavioral steel. Design beats effort on a long enough scale. You don't need prayer to stop the bleed. You need to move the knife out of reach. You don't fix addiction with slogans or shame. You fix it by altering the game. Remove the cue. The ritual collapses, expose the level. The myth unravels. What do you see when you wake your eyes? What do you touch before you decide that is a script? You replay at dawn before you ever think you're wrong. The environment always wins. We don't fight blind, we engineer the terrain for the future mind. The environment always wins, so we reframe the field until discipline becomes something the space itself yields. Yeah. You don't need to be made of iron nerve. You need softer friction on the curves. You need order with chaos shouts. You need fewer exits to backslide out. Set the fruited eye level light. Put the weights where your shoes sleep at night. Kill the app where your thumb goes first. Rewrite the room, rewrite the thirst. Ooh, Rule 111 couldn't design law. What's nearest becomes what you draw. Under fatigue, under heat, under strain. The closest option wins the game. You don't fix a life by screaming at self. You fix it by rearranging the shelf. So the easy choice finally sides with the oath instead of with the enemy of growth. If your willpower keeps losing, it's probably fighting the wrong opponent. The environment always wins. We don't curse the soul, we redesign the trenches where habits go. The environment always wins. So we build homes and teach the body how to grow.
Manual page 37 concludes. Stop trying to overpower your life. Rebuild the room that trains it.
Pain is loud, but it's not a biography. Yeah. You felt the wound, then you built a name around the scar and the shattered frame. You learned to introduce yourself as like suffering was the shape you take. But pain is only a flare in the dark, pointing toward a damaged part. It is not the throne and not the law. It is a message that demands a draw. Rule 112, cardinal bone. Pain reports it does indeed find a zone and signal strain. It signals breach, it does not describe your reach. You don't become what hurt you once unless you let the narrative run. What you interpret as who I am is often just a system alarm. If you turn the warning into a crown. You will live forever at signal level. Pain is a signal, not an identity. It marks the friction, not the lineage. Pain is a signal. We read, then we act. We don't let the siren rewrite the map. They teach you to wear your damage like flag. Make trauma a brand, make healing a drag. They call it ownership, call it truth. But pain becomes a cage when it becomes your proof. You can honor the wound without living inside. You can learn from the burn without being the fire. You can name what broke and still choose rebuild without swearing allegiance to the battlefield. Rule 130, next in recovery. Steal information is lighter than kill. If pain is all the deep, find your frame. You drag the injury into every game. Reading the signal is how you grow. Live as a signal is how you stall. The messenger becomes a prison wall. What hurts, what burns, what tightens in the dark. His pointed finger, not signing your mark. Pain is a signal, we don't romanticize. We translate the data and apply the design. Pain is a signal, we don't worship the scar. We respect the warning and keep who we are. You don't heal by pretending it didn't hurt. You heal by refusing to let it be dirt that covers the future and permanent stain. You extract the lesson without embalming the pain. There is a self beyond the damage done. There is a light beyond the war you won. If you keep introducing yourself as egg, you will never meet the rest you could make. Woo! Rule 114, cutting integration law. Healing is separation of fact from road. The fact is the wound, the lies, the soul. Being is bigger than anything that bled. The story is not the body, the scar is not the head. You don't betray the past by letting it shrink. You betray the future by refusing to unlink. If you only know who you are by what hurt you, you will never meet who you are when you are whole. Pain is a signal, we don't confuse the tone with the entire song or the nervous unknown. Pain is a signal, we don't set it as law, we let it guide the fix, then return to who we are. Manual page 38 concludes. Listen to the pain. Don't become. You can say I'm free out loud while renting every decision you make. You post independence like it's proof of law, but your day still answers invisible calls. Notifications to your dopamine lease, deadlines you done choose, still tighten the leash. You call it my life, but the script isn't yours. It's written in habits behind closed doors. You don't get owned by dramatic change, you get owned by convenience that never complains. Rule 115, common civic bone. Autonomy is not a slogan stone, it's the residue of train control over attention, time, and impulse told. You don't become sovereign by loud decree, you become sovereign by micro utility. Give choosing what you let hijack the hand when no one's watching the command. If you can be steered without threat or pay, you are not free yet. Autonomy is built, not declared in air. It's trained in the quiet of disciplined care. Autonomy is built, not gifted by a flame. It's forged in the friction of choosing your lane. They tell you just be yourself like the self is whole, where your nervous system runs on external coal. Your cravings are rented, your outrage rehearsed, your longing is packaged and shipped in bursts. You feel spontaneous, you feel profound, but the trigger was planted and purchased ground. If you never audit what pulls your string, you'll always dance for an unseen king. Rule 116, etched in behavioral steel. Freedom degrade without structural will. You don't keep liberty by loving the word, you keep about pruning what can't be heard. Inside your body, inside your mind, inside the margins of allowed time. Anything that hijacks without consent is already a form of government. Who chose his habit? Who chose his growth? Who chose his urgency? Who chose his role? If you can name the chooser, you are not in command. Autonomy is built, we don't worship the claim. We wire the system that can't be easily tamed. Autonomy is built, we don't beg the right. We install the brakes on the inner tonight.
You don't need to flee society to be free. You need to govern what it inserts into thee. You need veto power over impulse and feed over who gets access to your need. Sovereignty starts at the level of pulse of how fast you react when you feel the jolt. You don't conquer nations to own your life. You conquer the reflex to avoid the knife. Rule 117, cutting sovereign law. Self-rule is the substrate of all. You can't run the republic inside your skin. If the crowd controls what comes in, you don't need fewer laws in the land. You need firmer laws in your own command to decide what stimuli get a vote in the parliament of your throat. If your behavior is predictable to strangers, your autonomy is under lease.
Hey! Autonomy is built, we don't quote a phrase. We practice the governance of our days. Autonomy is built, we don't wait to be free. We shape the structure that lets us be.
Yeah. Manual page 39 concludes. Freedom is not an announcement. It is a train capacity. Yeah.
You learned a lot, but learning isn't living yet. You stack the knowledge, memorize the code, coded the rules, learn the mode. But information is only the map, it doesn't move a single trap. You can read every war ever fought and still freeze the first time you're caught between who you were and who you could be, with the bridge on fire behind your feet. Rule 118 carved in synthesis, bone understanding is not yet zone. Knowing the path and walking it, living two different nervous habitats. You don't transform by collecting truth, you transform by rehearsing it into muscle and tooth. Until the idea stops being mine and becomes how you automatically decide. If it lives only in thought, it will die in pressure. Integration is the real transformation, not vision, not vow. It's when the lesson becomes ours. Integration is the real transformation, when the rule becomes reflex, when the mind stops arguing and the body protects. You don't change because you were convinced, you change because behavior finally synced with what you already said was true, but never quite let your hands fully do. Most people are libraries of unused law, full of wisdom they must ignore. They admire the truth like a distant art, but never weld it into the heart. Rule 119, etch an embodiment still. Truth unused will always feel unreal if it hasn't been tested under fatigue, under hunger, under social siege. You don't become what you admire, you become what you apply under fire, under boredom, under loss, under delay, when no one is watching what you choose to obey. What did you do when it caused you sleep? What did you do when it caused you face? What did you do when nobody clapped? That is what integrated, that is what stayed mapped. Integration is the real transformation. We don't worship the light, we're wireless. Well, the minds are night and night. Integration is the real transformation. We don't collect tools, we become them under the rules. Growth that only lives in speech is soft, collapses under operational cost. The real change is loud and silent, it alters your default violence toward self, toward time, toward escape. It rewrites what you do in a nerve shape. You don't need more epiphanies, you need fewer contradictions between belief and activity. Rule 120, cutting final law. Reflection without execution is stall. You don't honor the lesson by loving its sound, you honor it by letting it ruin your ground. Where the habit lives, where the shortcut hit, where the familiar lie kept you as a kid. Integration is when the old road dies and a new one doesn't need supervision to survive. If your life looks the same after the revelation stay theoretical. Integration is the real transformation. We don't chase the peak, we alter the baseline of how we speak and just teach. Integration is the real transformation. We don't wait to feel new, we let the truth rewrite what we do. Manual page 40 concludes.
Transformation is not what you realize, it is what you no longer need to remember to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Before there was word, there was breath. Before there was law, there was pulse. Before there was fear, there was awareness. Strip the noise from the temple of the chest. Peel the dust from the compass of the flesh. You ran 40 miles inside the mind. Now stand still where the spine aligns. Every lesson now waits for a host. Every rule needs a living ghost. Not a slogan, not a vow in it. A vessel that says I will carry this here. You learn the map, you learn the toll. Learn the sentence inside the soul. Now comes a part they never teach, where the true crosses into the reach of the hands that tremble, or the lungs that burn, or the knees that buckle before they learn.
Breathe it in,
let the noise fall dead.
Breathe it out,
let the old self shed.
We don't rise by height,
we rise by breath.
We don't fear the change,
we rehearse the death
of what we were,
become what's next. No crowd in the room, no screen to bless. Just you and the weight of the promise you said. The ego wants drums and flags and fire. The soul wants silence and honest why. Between what you know and what you do, between who you were and who is true. You don't pray to escape the ground, you pray to root so you don't fall down. You don't pray for the water seas, you pray to become something that can keep peace. When the night is long and the will is thin, and the old reflex claws back in.
Shake me, slow me, make me, empty me. Fill me only with what survives the fire. Breathe it in,
let the fear unhook.
Breathe it out,
let the past be took.
We don't beg for life,
we become the wick.
We don't flee the dark,
we burn in it. This is not a prayer for comfort. This is a prayer for capacity. This is not a prayer for safety. This is a prayer for endurance. Let the nervous system learn a new law. Not panic first, not freeze at the draw. Let their hands remember what truth feels like when the crowd is gone and the room is night. Let the breath be the first command. Not the feed, not the flash, not the demand. We don't ask to be spared the test. We ask to be built to pass it clean. We don't ask for the storm to bend. We ask for a spine that doesn't lean. When the pressure stacks and the old ways call and the easy exit paints the wall. Breathe it in, let the code rewrite.
Breathe it out,
let the nerves go quiet.
We don't pray to
leave this skin.
We pray to
finally live in it.
We don't pray to dodge the flame. We pray to wear a true name.
Manual closes. Breath opens. The work begins at the level of pulse.
In friction, in fire, in staying.
They named you before you could choose, branded the skin before you could move.
Family name, street name, number and code. Mask after mask you were told to hold, but no one names you at the gate of pain. When the comfort leaves and the mirror remains. No one names you when the lights go black, and the only witness is the spine looking back. Names fall off in the heat of the climb. Titles crack under pressure and time. Status burns, reputation melts. Only one thing survives in the cell. What you carry when nobody saw. What you kept when the deal was raw. What you chose when escape was wide. What you did when the light felt kind.
Call me by the name I earned in fire.
Not the one I wore for applause in choir.
Call me by the name that stayed when I shook.
When the whole world burned and I still took another step, another breath, another cut toward what's left. You don't earn your name in the open day. You earn it in a long delay. Between a vow and the visible proof. Between the promise and the brutal truth. You earn it when your hands still move. When the heart says stop and the law says prove. You earn it when the feet go silent and only ethics keep you defiant. They call you brave when the lights are on. They call you loyal when the wind is strong. But the real name writes in negative space. In the unseen hours, the infamous place where no one claps and no one knows. If you keep walking when nothing shows. If you still build when the dream won't talk. If you still stand when the ground won't lie.
Who are you when the room goes empty?
I am what I repeat.
Who are you when the shield falls off?
I am what I keep.
Who are you when the gods go quiet?
I am the vow that moves my feet.
Call me by the name I earned in fire.
Not the one that needed a crowd and a wire.
Call me by the name that cost me sleep.
That buried comfort 6 feet deep. Call me by the name that stayed when it hurt. When I traded ease for a heavier work. This is the part they never film. This is the part no brand can hold. This is where the person is decided without witnesses. You don't keep your name in the mouth of men. You keep it in the spine of I will again. Again when it's boring, again when it's slow. Again when the doubt says nobody knows. Again when the past knocks gentle and sweet. Again when the shortcut paints your feet. Again when the body begs for a lie. Again when the soul says hold the line. This is the name that can't be purchased. This is the name the algorithm can't surface. This is the name the storm can't steal. Because it lives below what storms can't feel. This is the name your children read. Not in text but in what you leave. This is the name the earth will keep long after the profile falls asleep.
Call me by the name I earned in fire.
I survived the wait, I outlived the wire.
Call me by the name that didn't run.
When the crown was ash and the war was won. Call me by the name written in nerve and lost in work and what I serve. The manual ends.
Body continues.
The body continues.
Body continues.
The name is now yours to keep
Body continues.
or to lose tomorrow.
You asked for a manual. You were given mirrors. You asked for a map. You were given motion. You asked for God. You were given hands.
There is no final chapter written in stone, only the one you walk when you're finally alone. No audience left, no score to defend, just the quiet arithmetic of how you spend your breath, your hours, your borrowed flame, your last excuse, your unbrand name. You wanted answers carved in the sky, but the sky kept pointing back to the why.
That lives in the real,
In the marrow of choice,
in the small yes said.
without a voice, you learn the laws like external code. Boundaries, energy, time is load. Fear is forecast,
Stress as mass,
systems as bridges that outlive the past. You learn that truth has a social price, that attention buys future slice by slice. You learn that pain is a signal, not crown, that autonomy is built from the ground. You learn that purpose is residue left when the fantasy died and the work was kept. Now the book goes quiet so the body can speak.
this is the seal.
No crowd, no claim,
Just the life you live.
under your real name.
This is the seal.
No promise in there, just the way you choose and the way you bear. You don't need a prophet to tell you what's right.
You
need fidelity in the middle of night. When nobody's watching, your ethics breathe. When the shortcut whispers with velvet teeth. You don't need a savior descending in flame.
You need
to stop outsourcing blame. You
don't need
done another doctrine to read. You need alignment between word and deed. The world won't bend to the speech you post. It bends to the patterns you host. It bends to the rooms you redesign, to the exits you as well shut behind, to the attention you keep like blood in the vein, to the habits you train like weather and brain. The future will not remember your intent. It will remember what your calendar spent. No echo saves you, only structure does.
This is the seal.
Not heaven, not hell, just the endless feedback of how you dwell.
This is the seal.
Not fade, not free, just the life that grows from what you repeat. Who governs the hand when the will is thin?
I do.
Who guards the door when the noise breaks in?
I do.
Who pays a cost when the vow gets hard?
I do.
Who becomes a law when the gods go dark? There is no final exam at the edge of breath, only the audit of lived in depth. Only the accounting of how you loved, what you lifted, what you shoved, what you built when it wasn't loud, what you spared when you could have bowed,
What you changed when the change
cost you,
what you kept when the lie
felt true. You will not be judged by the words you knew. You will be shaped by the moves you grew. Your children won't hear your philosophy long. They will imitate your daily song. Your enemies will forget your face. They will remember the structure you place. Your friends will not quote the vows you made.
they will remember.
If you stayed, no myth survives the calendar.
This is the seal.
No final plea, just the unedited truth of who you chose to be.
This is the seal.
No sacred disguise, just the integration of open eyes. You do not need permission to begin. You do not need certainty to continue. You do not need an ending to live correctly. Every morning is a fresh compile of the system you trained a while. Back in the quiet, back in the boring, back in the place where futures are storing in the breath you take. Before the phone, in the step you take. Before the tone, in the choice that never trends or shines, where your entire direction signs.
The manual ends where the habit starts. The ritual hides in the common parts. In the dishes, the walk, the work, the sleep. In the promise you either keep or cheat. There is no transcendence without the floor. No open sky without the door. No higher self without lower craft. No permanent rise without daily draft. The gate is never guarded by thunder, only by repetition. This is the seal. We don't ascend away, we descend into practice day by day. This is the seal. We don't wait to be free, we build the conditions that let us be.
The instructions were never outside you. They were waiting for you to move. The manual is closed. The human continue. Every morning is a fresh compile of the system you trained a while.